Everyone, welcome to another part of this Mortal Kombat character tier list video where we rank over 200 characters. I'm with CDR again.
You okay?
That
Sorry.
just that sound like a genuine question.
No. It's this. It's a line that Kung Lao says in Shaolin Monks to another monk after the guy has clearly been
Oh
stabbed and
yeah,
murdered by
that.
Baraka.
It's still like a motion character he's in, and yeah, that's fitting because we're starting with Kung Lao, and we got some very specific rules. Yeah, so
Yeah.
this Kung Lao is actual Kung Lao.
Based.
And there's one Leonis, which is Shaolin Monks Kung Lao, and any other variant that tries to replicate that version. So
Yes.
MK9 and MK11. The Revenant, we
Right.
basically covered the Revenants, and also like there's not much even to talk about there because he's just generic
Yeah.
evil dickhead.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
Yeah. But his MKX his MKX intro dialogues where he's not an asshole would count under this Kung Lao. Otherwise, this is the midway version.
yeah, because in intro dialogue he's fine.
Yeah.
Um, and has a good voice actor, but you can't say the same for him. Fucking most other things. Actually, probably
Yes.
everything, actually. Um,
Goddamn.
now that I think about it. So, yeah, Kung Lao debuted in Mortal Kombat 2,
Yes.
and he was actually cool at first, believe it or not. Crazy. Um,
I know, right?
so obviously he's another Shaolin monk. He's besties
Yes.
with Liu Kang. Sometimes they're related.
Yep.
Um,
Sometimes they're not.
yeah,
It's a
so
bit odd. I mean, they tend to characterize them as though they are essentially kind of like brothers anyway, which is fine. So like yeah, like I mean they would have probably grown up together with the Shaolin and stuff, so like they can be directly related. They can not be. It doesn't really affect their dynamic as much as some people like seem to think that it does. Um, but
yeah.
it's there. It does give more weight to Liu Kang in MK1, like beating Wolf and stuff, because like okay. So we've explained a lot of this before, especially when we ranted about the Great Kung Lao, uh, which is that obviously this Kung Lao is the descendant of the Great Kung Lao who was killed 500 years ago in the tournament um, by Goro and stuff. So like it would have, and usually like starting in like MK4 and like well technically MK4, but you get what I mean. Like starting in like MK4 onward, like caring about avenging his ancestors, pretty kind of loud thing. But he not in MK1, so rip rip.
Yeah. And later on, that just becomes his entire character by MK11. I'm the descendant of the
Yes,
great Kung Lao. Suck my cock.
yeah, it's really annoying, and it's bizarre in a lot of ways because this Midway Kung Lao, his original sort of his deal as a character was that he was actually he respected his ancestor, and I do think that he wanted to avenge his ancestor and get back at Goro, though they eventually those two eventually resolved that amicably, but we'll get to a little bit later. Um, he other than his respect for his ancestor, he resented the legacy and the burden that was placed upon him as a
Yeah.
result of his ancestry and his name being named directly after this person of greatness who had been over those 500 years essentially like mythologized in his family and everything. So that's like a huge weight on him because he himself, even though he trained to fight for Earthrealm and he cares a lot about defending Earth, so very willingly ultimately, this version of Kung Lao wanted to just live a life of peace, to the point where in MK3, he actually fakes his own death in order to be able to just get away from everything, and doesn't come back until MK4, to face down the threat of Shinnok,
Yeah.
which is kind of which is kind of funny because that's also the game where his ancestor's killer Goro also comes back from being presumed dead. So that's kind of funny to me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that MK4 in a way that kind of like it buries the hatchet of like all that stuff I see because girl
yes,
and kind of like hey we friend now and then I guess that would lift the weight off Kunal in general
yeah,
about like I'm gonna live up to the great Kunal as a warrior.
yeah,
I
yeah. I mean, he might still be facing some pressure from his family. It certainly would seem a thing to do, especially if you put in the additional context of Kung Jin and the way he was treated. So
yeah
there's a lot of baggage there with that family that hasn't really been touched on because we've never actually seen any of them other than Kung Lao, Kung Jin, and sometimes Liu Kang.
yeah
So that's kind of a missed opportunity, I think. The other thing is what was I going to say? Okay. So yeah, the MK4 thing. He shows up when negotiating with Kitana to create that treaty between the Denians, the Jokan, and the Centaurs. And he slashes Goro across the chest, what he refers to as a ceremonial strike of revenge. And then Goro's like, "Oh, ancestor was an honorable warrior, and you know what? Maybe if he'd won, like my descendant would be going after you. So like I get it, we're cool."
yeah
And then they like shake hands and stuff. So that's cool.
yeah that's really nice and that's the most
Yeah,
character development Goro got.
pretty much.
um,
But no, it's weird. In Deadly Alliance, Goro is technically in the story in a sort of NPC capacity, but they don't. And obviously, they play on his dynamic with Katana, the fact that they have formed fighting against what's left of Shao Kahn's empire, but they don't really do anything with him and Kung Lao getting any further interactions, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah, it's
Um,
very interesting because Deadly Alliance and obviously MK4, they treat Goro as like Katana's main ally, which is interesting.
mhm.
Because we
Yeah,
think of like characters like Jade in that
yeah, I
place.
was gonna say. Then in Deception, they remember that Jade exists.
Yeah, yeah.
Oops.
But yeah, kind of, I guess like the development there too, obviously.
Yeah,
Um,
and then I would say Deadly Alliance is his biggest story role and character role in the Midway era.
yeah, because MK4 doesn't make peace with Goro and also like shows
Right.
that he's ready to now like fight when necessary. And
Right.
Day
Right.
Alliance is like a very prominent motherfucker, and he is out
Yes.
to kill Day Alliance, which is so
Oh
dope.
yeah, no, he's out to kill those motherfuckers. Yeah, Deadly Alliance, and also kind of the little encounter that you can have in Deception Conquest is when it is a bit more firmly established. I don't remember the MK2 bios for Liu Kang, but both of them were very much affected by the attack on the Wuxi Academy by the Outworld forces to try and force the Earthrealm fighters to compete in the MK2 tournament. They were both pissed about that. Deadly Alliance, or I guess I should just say the 3DR as a whole is what really puts into focus the notion that Kung Lao is sort of an inherently an angrier person relative to Liu Kang, susceptible to sort of righteous fury towards injustice. And he's obviously deeply affected by Liu Kang's death and very angered by that. And he decides to go train with Bo Raicho in order to be able
Yeah,
to fight the Deadly Alliance. And also Katana also trains at Bo Raicho, which is it's really nice because those three characters, Bo Raicho, Kongo, Katana, were all very closely connected to Liu Kang and all want to avenge his death and defeat the Deadly Alliance. So they're able to uh, sort of help each other heal and achieve their mutual goal through that. And it's a really cool thing to coalesce those three characters like that. There's also this great little moment in I think it's Sonya's conquest, where she is one of the earliest people to show up to the island for Raiden's meeting, and Kung Lao is the only one there. She notices that he is upset. She doesn't really like, and he doesn't like really want to talk about it. She doesn't really press him. Agrees to spar with him to help him like clear his head and stuff.
Yes,
Deadly Alliance
yes.
does a great job generally of putting across the idea that the heroes from the trilogy era were actually friends.
Yeah.
That
Um,
they're not just in proximity, and also some of them annoy each other. Because there's also the bit that I mentioned in one of the parts of Johnny being like happy to see Raiden, and considering him a friend over that one. But yeah, there's a lot of that there.
yeah, and also they're all like together as a result of the death of a friend, or also the fact that they're not spread, but also that. Um, so there's also that to show that, which is nice. Um,
Right.
and I believe Kung Lao and Katana are the like actually face the Day Alliance, like have a 2v2, which
Yes, I
sounds
believe
fucking
they're the
awesome.
ones. Yeah, yeah, it sounds awesome. Yeah, I think they're the ones that actually face the sorcerers, while Jax, Johnny, and Sonya get have to deal with a bunch of Tarkatan hordes.
Yeah, because they helped the Day Alliance for some reason. Yeah.
Yeah, just cause Oh, okay. You're
So,
Baraka was like, oh, you're in charge now. Okay, sure, I guess. I mean, whatever.
and then Deception, it's like, oh, oh yeah, Unaga, he's the strongest guy. I mean, you guys are
Baraka,
right now, but it took you a few
Baraka just
leaders.
yeah, Baraka just clocks in for work and is like, oh, we have a new manager.
um, CLL dies to the alliance.
Fortunately, yeah, that
Yeah,
that that shit is really sad. Like, it's good that they kind of don't dwell on it too much and do bring them back pretty quickly. But like, if you think about it, that's really depressing.
yeah. Um, and I see if I like Deception. Obviously, they actually like because he's brought back as like along with like anyone else who died during like the Battle of the Alliance.
Yeah, yeah. The
By
other heroes,
Onaga
they're all
as
yes,
like minions. Basically, like early reference from like a Sindel
right.
Master, except it actually works a lot better.
Yeah,
um,
it does. I
and it
also
gets
don't think you.
fixed after just one game. So wow,
Yeah,
who'd have thought?
yeah. I don't. Right. I don't think you necessarily need to have them all die. If you were to like retell the story, you could just have them maybe get knocked out, maybe have one of them show up while they're still fighting the Deadly Alliance or something. I mean, if you want the moment of the Deadly Alliance winning, this, uh, you still don't have to kill them, but you can
I
lose and
think
stuff. But
it works. Obviously, you could just have other ways to rhyme out other than death, but they act like
right,
everyone comes back in Armageddon, and like Kung Lao, characters like him actually get like a bio or not, or at least a role. I don't know if Lao specifically has a bio.
does not get a bio, but he does
He's in
feature in.
Fusions, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, he features in Fujin's bio with them coming together to try and restore Raiden and Liu Kang to their proper forms.
yeah, which is cool. Another good like little duo there that Lao's a part of.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of Fujin, I was thinking, considering that he really only has one like blemish to him as a character, do you want to just bump him up to S tier?
I don't think he has enough to be an S, honestly.
Okay, yeah, like we haven't seen him enough times. That's fair. That's
Mhm.
valid.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this kind of pretty great. And I guess like his
Yeah.
death, like the deadlines. Basically, if that was the death of that character, I see Armageddon. He's still in character. They didn't go the Shaolin Monks route, which still baffles me. How the fuck Shaolin Monks was a thing in the middle of the 3D era, which was the peak of gameplay and
Yeah.
storytelling,
It's
and it just
it's
that
really
dog
weird.
shit.
Yeah,
Like
it's
people,
so weird.
it feels like people like talk about that like that spin-off game more than the actual 3D era, and
They
it's so
really
bad.
do.
It's not even good gameplay wise. I don't get the
No,
appeal.
it's not. I really don't. One thing I wanted to mention, going back to the only problem, like I like that, I like the juxtaposition of him being like an angrier dude than Kang when that shit goes down. And, you know, his like grieving rage is very easy to empathize with. But the problem is that that's the other things that kind of takes over his character from like Shaolin Monks onward and stuff. I mean, not counting Armageddon because Armageddon technically came out after Shaolin Monks. In his Armageddon ending, they do slightly acknowledge it's like barely, like very barely. Like in his ending, he goes back in time, defeats Goro in place of his ancestor, and then it says that oh, his rivalry with Liu Kang never came to be or whatever. That
They
shit
never
didn't
had a
happen in
rivalry
Liu
in the
Kang's.
game. Oh my god, that ending sounds so shit. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's so
It's
dumb. Oh
it's
my
it's
fucking
too
god.
it's so like sparse in details that I don't really hate it. Like it's not it's really not any more descriptive than the way I just described it. So like
I
I
hate
don't hate it.
everything
It's
about that
just
ending,
dumb.
like I do with most Armageddon endings.
That's
Like,
fair.
what a
Okay, so
waste of effort. Just don't have
yes.
endings at that point. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, yeah. So since we're including some of his MKX stuff, obviously in the story he's just the Reverend, so it's lame as fuck. He's given like a little bit more than some of the other ones. Like he's like, oh, you let me die, Raider. Fuck, my dad sucked. I didn't get to die honorably or some shit like that. It's just like fine.
Yeah. But
Moving.
it feels like he's mirroring Liu Kang even more.
Right,
Like, because he just
right.
has
It
the
feels
same
like
complaints as Liu Kang, except Liu Kang's complaints are more valid and we get to hear from him
yes,
more.
yes. This is why I have such a hard time trying to characterize Revenant my story, and he fades to the background the most of all of my Revenants.
Bro, you let
But yeah,
Shao Kahn sneak up on you. 8 foot
yeah.
tall, massive fucking guy. um,
You didn't hear his cheeks clapping? He's
um,
dummy thick.
but yeah, when you're talking about MK
At
9
least, at least in the Deception intro, Quan Chi heard cheeks clapping.
that's um,
I know it's supposed to be his footsteps, but I want to make a dummy thick joke. Anyway,
please. Um, I do think like his anginess in like the elements isn't a problem. I
no,
know that's kind of like a thing in the later stuff, but I don't think that's like the
yes,
cause for it. I still think that's Shaolin Monks, which by coincidence just has that similarity.
yeah,
Um,
I agree. I agree.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
I kind of want to just sort of like this is a completely off topic, random curiosity. If I ever look more into Shadow Monks, I'm kind of curious to see if there's any way that Liu Kang is characterized in that game that has affected him. His character has also fallen off the rails, so that's a bit more recent. But anyway,
maybe he just seems very
um,
generic to me.
yeah,
In that game,
yeah.
he exists. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I just wouldn't dare
Mhm.
watch all the all the Shaolin Monks cutscenes.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and then obviously there's MKX coming out, which is like an intro dialogue. At least the only time we really get like an actual decent Kung Lao on MK. Um, yeah, but then he's fine because the thing is, like intro dialogues in MKX for the most part are just very generic stuff. Um,
Mhm.
and then MK11, it's less generic, but what they say is like really fucking stupid. So yeah, it's rough. So yeah, there's not really much to talk about on MKXL. But
No,
he,
he's pretty nice in his intro dialogues. He's like
yeah,
generally respectful with other people and stuff. I think it. I think it's his ending. Yeah, his ending is really good because it's him in the Nether Realm and stuff, and then Kung Jin shows up there and is able to help overcome the Revenant corruption through like Shaolin training, force of will, meditation and
yeah,
stuff.
which is cool and should have fucking happened.
Absolutely, they don't
Um,
even interact in the story mode. It's ridiculous.
yeah, they do. Oh my fucking god. Oh, what a waste. of an already meh concept with the Revenants. But, so yeah, there's also like movies which I'm only going to mention here because we don't even get like enough as characterization to determine if they're supposed to be based on original
Yeah.
now. If they're going off channel things. Because the 2021 movie, he fucking dies, and he's kind of like a dick, but it's no, so it's okay. Um, so yeah, he's okay there from what I've seen, but I haven't watched that movie in full because it's not Mortal Kombat, so I'm not interested in it. Um,
Yeah.
then there's Battlegrounds, where he has the same voice actor as MK11 Liu Kang, and that voice actor doesn't even put on any different voice. So it's just,
Nope.
it's so dumb. It sounds like identical to Liu Kang. It's just, hey, you're an Asian guy who's worked in MK. Please voice Kung Lao. Like, what
Exactly.
the fuck?
Yeah,
Oh,
it feels
God.
really it feels really racist.
Oh,
And in
yeah.
2021, he's like fine until he's a sociopath, and then he
Oh,
dies.
yeah, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, just. I was like, this fucking psycho face on it as he like slices the tar in half. And obviously, that's
Yeah,
like a reference to
gross.
like them could do fatality, but stop putting fatalities like based on like the over the top gameplay
Yeah,
one. Stop putting them in like canonical like story events. It
I'm
doesn't
pretty sure they
fucking
even
work.
have his stupid ass like say flawless victory. It's so bad.
Oh God. Yeah, that's not good. Um, oh yeah, and in Battle Rounds he also dies because of course he does. It's Luke. It's no, it's not Liu Kang. It's Kung Lao. I mean, Battle Rounds it basically is Liu Kang. Fucking hell.
Actually, yes. Hey, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. So, okay, so Liu Kang has developed a similar problem to characters like Cliff Jumper in the Transformers, or I don't know, like I'm trying to. Basically, they keep killing him. They keep killing him. No, okay, we're not counting MK9 Kung Lao. Rank this one, but he does die in MK9. He dies again in Aftermath. Fucking drowned or some shit.
That's
For
the thing. Well, so he dies twice in MK9. One for the retconned Armageddon events in the intro.
oh, that's
Then
true.
he
That's
dies in
true.
three. So that's already
Right,
like two.
and he's died in both of his movie appearances.
Yeah.
Both of them, which is insulting not only to his character but also because he wasn't in any of the movies before, and it's a lack of acknowledgement of the contribution that Kung Lao indirectly made to the '90s movies, the original run of Mortal Kombat movies, because they cannibalized character traits from him to give to Liu Kang to make Liu Kang more interesting.
Yeah, and it still doesn't work because if you look at like as we said, Day Alliance and previous, like peak Kung Lao there, he is way more interesting than Liu Kang. Fucking hell. Like so
The
much
old
more
it's even to
interesting.
the point where like the old Malibu comics were shipping Kung Lao with Katana before
Oh well,
it became like a.
I don't know any of his roles in the Marvel comics. Like didn't even
I
think
don't
about
like that. I
it.
know there's one where him, Katana, Baraka, and Sub Zero team up to do something.
Yeah,
Fight
they
Shao
do it.
Kahn's forces. I think it's a random group, but I kind of like it.
I like it, and it's like the first time of Barack
Oh,
having any doubt.
I know something in the Malibu comics. There's this bit where Shang Tsung, because he's absorbed the soul of the Great Kung Lao and everything, he shapeshifts into the Great Kung Lao to fuck with Kung Lao's head, which why he's
Oh
never done that in an
yeah,
actual canon game is insane and makes no sense. And then it gets to the point where Kung Lao starts to try to reach out to his ancestor. So it's sort of like when Shang Tsung is turning into someone whose soul he's absorbed, like their soul is more in the forefront, and it creates this interesting internal conflict for a bit. Again, the fact that Shang Tsung has never turned into the Great Kung Lao to fuck with him in an actual game is insane.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's really cool. Um, yeah. Oh, and his Revenant self is in the MKX comics where he stands there.
Um, oh, that's crazy.
No,
I mean,
I know, right?
it's the same amount of personality that like fucking most of the quote unquote villains in Outer Realms get.
Also, if the only 3D era game you played is Deception and you haven't played Armageddon and you main Daru Shujinko, Thank you, boy. Kung Lao.
Oh yeah.
He shares the fighting styles with Shujinko and Deception. The Dyer's weapon style is based on Kung Lao. So that's kind of cool,
Yeah,
and
his
it makes sense
movements
too
are cool.
with the fighting style thing because both Shujinko and Kung Lao were trained by Raicho. The fact that Shujinko doesn't really get any interactions with other Boraicho students, so weird. But yeah,
Yeah, I think about covers him.
hmm.
Where are we putting Kung
Yeah.
Lao?
I think this Kung Lao can either go really high B tier or somewhere in A tier.
I think he's 80 or whatever. I mean, he's
Okay.
very good. And it's the reason I like this motherfucker. Um,
Do you want to put him like just below Fujin, or do you not think he's that good?
no, I agree with that.
Okay, yeah, because he has a lot more than some of the other ones, even though we like them a lot.
Yeah. Because the thing is, if like Shaolin monks come out and like never existed, then he would probably make it to S tier.
Yeah, no, he's awesome.
um, but yeah, Shaolin monks onwards is really like fucking squatted, and also obviously he hasn't had much afterwards.
Right.
I think he had like a lot going on as a character. From 2, 4, and the airlines. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, besides that,
Yeah,
there
and
isn't a lot.
he gets a bit in MK3.
Yeah.
He also gets his worst design in MK3. But anyway,
Oh my god, it's fucking hideous. And they keep
so
remaking
hideous.
it. Just like if you
I
want to
know,
do one of the
right?
classic costumes, but like from like the trilogy ones, and you're not willing to do 3D era costumes for whatever
Do the
reason.
MK4 or not MK4, MK2 costume. Do the
Yes,
MK like it's the one that really cool action figure of him is based on. Come on.
and it has like really good colors and has like some actual detail on it, which is
Right.
crazy.
It's cool. Yeah.
Um,
His MK3 costume is so shit that like I don't know why. Like it's pretty like his MK4 costume is very similar to the MK3 one. I don't know why it's better than MK4, but it just does.
yeah.
It
So
just
yeah,
looks better.
fake PNG
Oh.
now is a worthy A tier character.
Fake PNG Kung Lao. Let's go. All right, moving on to Quan Chi.
Let's go. Um,
You
uh,
see, Jane, you can trust the sorcerer sometimes.
welcome to my home, Sub-Zero. Oh, fucking god.
Welcome to my home, Sub Zero.
So Quan Chi,
The
I've always,
information's all in here. Rips the guy's head off. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Quan Chi is the
so,
biggest meme in Mortal Kombat. No.
yeah, well, he's the best meme, at least. You know, there's a lot more comic memes, but most of them are from unfunny motherfuckers. Quan Chi, though, is actually really fucking funny. Um, And so I've always loved Quan Chi. He is a very divisive character. Um,
Yes, and we will be getting into why.
yeah. But I've always loved him. He's always been like one of my favorite characters. I've less than I just
Mhm.
but I still like a soft spot for him. And in
Yeah,
terms of like bias,
your liking,
I
yeah,
like
your liking of him. Sorry, I just want to say your liking of him has rubbed off on me and made me rate him more highly, similar to how
yeah.
you've made me go softer on Devora and Chrono. So like,
Because yeah, like a couple of years ago, he was in like my top 5 characters.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. He's
they've gone.
definitely like
He's gone down a bit
he's
just because
definitely.
I like
Mhm.
the 3D era like a lot more characters just from like the 3D era. And I was like started
Yes,
writing a fan
absolutely.
thing. And I still love Quan Chi. But,
Yeah,
he's not a perfect character. Um
he
I
is. He's definitely my number 4 and number 5 of main MK villain.
yeah.
Shang Tsung as the Deadly Alliance, and number 5 being so being
Recently
Sonya. I like him
recently
more than
I
Shao
played
Kahn and Shang Tsung.
yeah. Recently I played Mythology Sub-Zero, which is actually a good
Yes,
game. Shut the fuck up.
yes.
And he
Are you
is
gonna do?
fantastic in
Okay.
that game, and
Oh, he's so good in
it
mythologies.
made
It's
me
his standout
really
appearance. It
it
really
made me
is.
really love him again. Because yeah, he's such a fun villain. I love him.
Yes.
He's so much better than Shang Tsung in that
It's
game.
but
It's
by the way,
insane.
mythologies. It's the only version where the backstory with him where it intertwines with being the Scorpion actually works. I don't know why they keep trying to fucking change it. It doesn't work any other way. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, you can tweak a few things if you really want
You can
to,
tweak
but
a few details, but I don't know why people are. I don't know why they're so obsessed with changing it. Like
yeah,
it just
there's
doesn't.
no point in doing it in Reborn. I've changed it, but I actually have like a reason for that. I actually make sense of it. Um,
Yeah. I
so
mean, you didn't change like the fundamentals of like say Scorpion's origin because
oh
that's the
yeah,
one
yeah,
that
yeah,
they
yeah.
fucking up
Um,
with.
yeah, that's the one. Because basically, what it is Quan Chi does like a deal with the Lin Kuei Grandmaster, who's an evil motherfucker, and an underrated villain himself. Uh,
Yes.
and yeah, um, in return for getting the Temple of Elements map, Quan Chi, like alone, just fucking slaughtered the entire clan. Um,
Yeah. He
Nothing
just he
personal.
massacres the
He had
Shirai.
no like
Right.
particular external goals for them.
No.
He just killed
Hanzo
them
was
for
not
business.
there at the massacre. The
Yeah,
Shirai Ryu were assassins and murderers. I mean, not like Harumi. She was chill, but like you know.
yeah,
But yeah, so many things that people get wrong. I do think probably it makes sense if you establish that like other brother people probably participated, but either way, it's like one of the biggest things that Quan Chi does and everything. And obviously, he
yeah. I
manipulates.
think you can do like the Scourge Revenge thing. Not that the Scourge Revenge thing is good because he has no motive for
No.
anything he does.
Oh, you
But
mean
like,
him turning into Sub-Zero, like shapeshifting
yeah,
wise to help with the? I don't personally like that. You made it work in Reborn, but I've never liked it as a concept.
yeah, or at least some way to have like like if you want Quan Chi to have other people help him, like have like actual like Lin Kuei like sent by Aniro, just to show that Aniro is a piece of shit. Um, and yeah, actually put some genuine logic to hey, the Lin Kuei did this.
Yeah, just like
Because there's no fucking evidence
no,
beforehand.
like
It's just Scorpion going,
even just like hey,
Sub-Zero, you did this.
yeah, even just like, hey, Oniro, can I go in your armory? Sure. Grab a few Lin Kuei like medals and shit, and just throw them around the place.
Yeah,
You
and the
know,
thing is, I could
could have
believe
been an
a
ice
Nero
fire.
wanting like intentionally planted evidence to show that he did this. You know,
Yeah, because he's
like, yeah,
Oniro.
perfectly fine.
He's a bastard. He's literally holding the Grandmaster Shiryu is holding his motherfucking skull like goddamn Shakespeare.
Yeah, I like think like a reputation that would give the Lin Kuei that already like a very
Yeah.
few, and they just fucked up their main rival. So yeah, any like other like clans of whatever, they wouldn't
Yeah,
want
I
to
mean,
fuck with him then.
right. There's a reason the Tengu there's a reason the Tengu is so intimidated in Armageddon. You
Yeah.
know,
Um, So yeah, Quan Chi
like
in that regard, he just does a thing for Nero. And Nero's the one who really wanted to do stuff with that.
right. Let's talk
MK9
about
establishes he like it doesn't actually, I don't believe at least, it doesn't actually like change anything from Mythologies, which is good. But it does add like a thing in his bio that he has hopes of like turning like the dead Shirayun into like Spectre warriors, which I think they misunderstand how specters work. They're very inconsistent
right.
in terms of
They
how much
don't.
free will they have, or if they're just obedient.
Yes.
Also, they don't make it
It's like
clear if
what we
they
talked.
naturally
Sorry.
become specters or if it's just fucking country sorcery doing it, which is
Right.
lame.
Yeah, it's lame. We talked about this when we got to Noob, and we're gonna talk about it again when we get the Scorpion. Because I'm going to do the same joke where I explain his backstory and then say if you're lame and then explain the MK9.
But um, but yeah, I do like the idea of like Quan Chi, even though like what he was doing wasn't on anything personal, if he still had like an external goal, like hey, I could actually use these motherfuckers
He's
in
trying
some
to
way. Like in Reborn,
capitalize.
in
Mhm.
Reborn he gets Shinnok to just like make like fallen Shirayu's foundling and everyone just to turn them into zombies. Kind of like how like he
Right.
obviously like recruits Noob um just by extension of like stuff that's been happening around. He's like, hey, I could like do something with that. You join me.
Yes.
um,
I think one of the funnest ways to explain some of Quanti's shit is to let's go down the list of all the people he's fucked over. The dude has ruined lives. Like, okay, he killed Hanzo's family. He killed Haru and Satoshi, and he wiped out this year Ryu. One. Two, he orchestrated the external circumstances that led to Hanzo's death and thus him becoming Scorpion in the first place, and then manipulated Scorpion into believing that Bihan was responsible, which led to Scorpion killing Bihan and Bihan becoming Noob Saibot, who becomes a high-profile servant of Quan Chi. That's some fucking 4D chess shit. Like just that. Like, first of all, your fucking poster boys have been under this man's thumb for years, but nobody wants to talk about
It's
that. So
very
that's one
huge
thing.
brain, and I like it in like the idea that he just has like a goal, and then like he just builds off of like what he's doing. It's like, hey, I can do stuff from this, and then that's how like he does these
Yes,
crazy fucking plans. Um,
he's very opportunistic.
yeah,
Right,
because if he had like this specific plan all along, it wouldn't really work. Like,
right.
hey,
No, no.
he tries to
Yeah,
recruit,
he'd
like in
have to
mythology, we
adjust
see it,
his
he
plan.
tries to recruit Bihan. Um, Obviously, his plans wasn't for New Cybot, but
No.
when he finds New Cybot, it's like, oh yeah, I can
Yes.
take advantage of you.
It's
Enjoy.
not one cohesive plan, but he takes advantage of every opportunity, which is really
Yeah,
cool. So some other things, he's obviously the one who manipulates and keeps under his heel the various members of the Brotherhood of Shadow, like Serena, Kia, Jataka, um, Sion, Mika, Sora, Celine, and then obviously Serena rebels against them. And then there's also Ashra, who it's even more personal with because he was the one who ordered her to kill innocent people, and then when she defied him, he sent her sisters after him, which obviously must have been pretty traumatizing for her. So that sucks. He abandoned Moloch and Drummond and after they helped him get killed by Scorpion, and also find the ancient runestones. He just ditched their ass.
yeah,
Through the Deadly Alliance with Shang Tsung, he's responsible for the death of Liu Kang, the enslavement of the village, Li Mei's soul almost getting transplanted into that undead warrior, uh, the deaths of the various heroes. He's kind of he's the one who has Shinnok's amulet in his possession, and that's a whole other thing actually. Yeah. So he goes on the whole mission to get Shinnok's amulet, and then once he has it, he doesn't actually he actually keeps it for himself. He creates like actually two fakes really. He creates a fake which is the one that Bihan pulls off of Shinnok, uh, and then gives to Raiden and everything. Yeah, he's able to make something convincing enough to fool both Raiden and Shinnok, which presumably he creates a second fake to give to Shinnok and be all like, "Yeah, I reclaimed it for you, boss." But he keeps the real
yeah.
amulet for himself through to Deadly Alliance, which obviously he doesn't realize is actually the final piece of the whole Kamidogu puzzle. So he does kind of bring Onaga on himself. But to be fair, nobody was stopping that. So
Yeah.
so that was the whole thing. Um, he's yeah, there's a lot of interesting ways that he works himself in without it feeling over. The stuff
Yeah.
that he does in mythologies and MK4 and
You,
Deadly Alliance all feels very natural. And actually, in MK4, he's manipulating Scorpion again to try and take out Sub Zero, restore him or restore him to life, something like that. And
there's also
there's
like the earliest thing we know he's done. We don't know much of like his path, like his backstory or anything. But we do know that
we kind of
he's
do.
the cause for like the fucking Netherrealm War because he released Shinnok from prison. Obviously,
Yes, that's right.
in
He
like his
broke
goal would have
Shinnok
been
out.
for like power and whatnot, which he gets because he's basically like his right hand man. So he's basically the second
Yes,
highest power in Netherrealm after all that summer.
right.
Um, so yeah, he's the catalyst
He's
for a lot of shit.
yes, he's instrumental to Shinnok's takeover. We didn't know his backstory in a broad sense. We know that he was an Oni that transformed himself into a demon through
Oh
sorcery,
yeah,
which is neat.
yeah, and that's like, and I think it's one of those like mystery stuff that is actually good, because
Right.
you don't need to know like the specifics, but it's something you can
No.
always go back to and expand upon if you really wanted to, and
Right.
it's something that doesn't affect like the main plot because that would have been like thousands and thousands of years ago when this motherfucker would have been more. So you can do like a lot of
Yeah.
stuff, and then it would make sense, and I like
Yeah.
that. It
Hmm.
gives a lot of potential to characters who have that like
Right.
flexibility.
Right, and there is a lot for him to do. Another problem I have with his modern portrayals is that they zero in on his relation to the Scorpion, like Scorpion's backstory and stuff, and that beef, which is definitely important. Like that's
But
definitely
it
a
should
really
be
big thing.
important to Scorpion. It shouldn't be important to Quan
Right.
Chi.
It
Um,
shouldn't, or it shouldn't be important to the A story.
yes, that as well.
Uh,
Um,
they put that at the forefront, whereas it was mostly, again, it was like Scorpion's entire character a subplot. Like,
it
and I
wasn't even
don't
like a B plot. It was the fucking C plot. Scorpion would just show up
right.
every now and then when the Daylights were doing more important shit and get his ass kicked.
Yeah,
That was
which
it.
was like which was like a cool display of Scorpion's determination. I'll give him that, but like, yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
like that important. And I do appreciate that the 3DR does shift from the tired, cliched Scorpion and Sub Zero rivalry to Scorpion beefing with Quan Chi and Sub Zero beefing with Noob Saibot. That makes sense. But then, of course, there's a lot of reverting that happens, and then
yeah,
his worst the worst he is in Midway is he doesn't get a bio, so we can presume that he was probably resurrected by Shinnok, since Shinnok is orchestrating a lot of forces. But this is where he starts doing too much, you know. Like are you still there?
yes.
Okay. He recruits Serena back into the Brotherhood of Shadow, which was a dumb temporary heel turn that didn't even last very long. I don't know why they bothered.
Through contrived logic and shit, it doesn't work, and I don't know why. I don't
No,
know what the point
it
was
really
that
doesn't.
was because it doesn't really achieve
No.
anything besides having her be an enemy in like the conquest mode. But
Yeah,
again, you
yeah.
already
Having
have
her
Key
be a
and Taki. You could
boss.
have just had like those two be like the boss. There's no need to have
Right.
Serena
No.
involved there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
And
get
it
the
is a
point of
shame
that.
that yeah, it is a shame that after all that time, Kid Tucker is still like under his thumb. That's really a shame.
Yeah,
He's the one who recruits Jarek into the forces of darkness. He's the one who tells Rain about his true. Rain is right there. His true heritage of being a son of Argus. Which like that's so fucking random. Why would Quan Chi be the one to tell him that?
yeah. I mean, it's like he
No.
thinks of on behalf of Shinnok, um, but like he's doing too much. It feels obviously. Um,
He's really doing too much. He is supposed to represent Shinnok's interests, and there are some parts of that's good. Like he's the one who's advocating for the villains to join together in
yeah,
in that one scene Armageddon Conquest, which obviously makes sense for forwarding Shinnok's plans and stuff. So that's fine. I don't mind his sort of cooperation with the Red Dragon, like when he risked that guy's head off. So that stuff is fine. I
yeah.
think he kills Orin. Story which sucks. I don't
Which
think
really messed me. Again, it's like doing it on behalf of like Shinnok's orders, but like
right,
Dagon could have just done that, and
right,
that would have
exactly,
made more sense. It would have been more personal.
right.
Quan Chi
It,
doing it just
yes,
gives him more enemies that he doesn't need.
yes. Yeah, it creates sort of like the Devourer problem. Except this character that just creates enemies all the time. And
Yeah,
yeah, Dagon makes more personal sense to be the one that kills Orin and to be the one to reveal the truth to Rain. I don't think it necessarily has to be Dagon. Like you could have Sindel tell him maybe. Like what I'm going to do in my story is Sindel tell Rain, and then Dagon come up, twist it, twist the information while Rain is still processing, force Rain to his side, so they can use him to help like kill Taven and stuff eventually.
yeah.
But yeah, he's definitely doing too much. His involvement in Jarek's plot is random as fuck. Like whatever.
Jarek's role in that game like is so bizarre that I can allow that. It's still very weird, obviously, and I don't like that direction for Jarek.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
If
It's
the
overly
idea
crazy.
was to like make Jarek a Brotherhood of Shadow member, which is also very fucking weird, but
Oh god,
sure,
he was
I
opposed to
guess.
Shinnok and MK4. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah, it's so strange. Um,
Yeah, it's dumb. I do want to briefly just talk about Quan Chi's ending because it's fucking crazy, and I just think that it's funny.
I don't remember it.
So he gets the power of Blaze, and he like beats everyone, and in his arrogance, he ascends
Oh
to the
yeah.
heavens to try and challenge the Elder Gods directly. The Elder Gods turn him into Shinnok's amulet and send him back in time, so that it can be discovered by Shinnok, thus creating a goddamn time loop. which is fucking ridiculous, but like in the best way possible. I would
Yeah.
never want that to be canon, but it's so funny.
Yeah, and even if it was kind of wouldn't work because that's like like
No.
that timeline, the law was that Shinnok made it. He didn't find this amulet. It's just his creation. Um,
Yeah, it's dumb. I just think it's really funny
yeah,
that it even
like
exists.
like basically all Armageddon endings. They're
Yeah.
funny,
So
but
Quan
also so fucking stupid.
yeah, so stupid. Yeah, so Armageddon is the start of Quan Chi doing too much. In Deadly Alliance, when he's teamed up with Shang Tsung, I think that's when he's at his that's when they're both at their best. That's really, he's
Yeah,
really great in mythologies. That's his best solo portrayal. He's good in MK4. He doesn't get as much because of the just the different way that MK4 doesn't have the cutscenes like mythologies does. So there's a little bit less
yeah,
characterization.
yeah. But
But
he's
he's still
decent. Totally
right.
fine.
He's still solid. It's a continuation
My
of the same path. Real quick, I do want to point out he did appear in the Defenders of the Realm cartoon before he actually showed up in any of the games. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, and he has like a weird thing. I think like a weird.
He has like this weird scream when they beat him before he like
Yeah,
vanishes at that point.
yeah, his voice is strange. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of like his staff, which never ever came. I think. Never mind. We'll get to that. I've made it its
Yes.
own. I made its own slot because it's technically living. But yeah, my only gripe with MK4 Quan Chi is that like he reveals like his plans to Scorpion.
Yeah, he's
There's
like,
no.
I am going to see like, bro, what are you doing? Like, I know
Bro,
he's
stop
important, that
making
motherfucker,
making
but
more enemy.
dude.
I mean, he kind of fits to be arrogant like that, but also you need
Mhm.
Scorpion in like a state where
Yes.
he's
And
definitely fucked.
where he's not
And
gonna kill you.
Scorpion's revenge has the same issue, but it's even worse there because
Oh, that
Scorpion
fucking
should be
movie.
in a position where he fucking dies. But to begin with, so technically it would work, but also Quan Chi's motive is non-existent in that. So you're just like, yeah,
Nope.
I killed your
No.
family and clan. Um, for the vine.
Yeah.
See ya, bro. I'm gonna
I did it
poison
for the
Shang Tsung
vine.
now, for reasons.
Oh my god.
Also, that's
For
another
the
thing that doesn't have any
vine.
motion. Anything Quan Chi does in Scorn's Revenge, even though he's still fun, I still think like any MK thing still nails his personality. There's obviously different ones, and some better than others. Like mythologies is just peak Quan Chi.
Yes. Oh,
But he's still
speaking of
fun no matter
peak,
what he's in.
yes.
Even if
Speaking of
he's
peak
doing
Quan Chi,
stupid
yes.
shit.
Speaking of peak Quan Chi, I just want to say the actor who played him in the Conquest TV show has a YouTube channel where he does like funny little skits as Quan Chi,
Yeah.
which
He's
is
a very
which is
nice dude.
awesome
Yeah.
and wholesome, and I love it. So that's really fun. He's fine in that show. That it's Conquest, so there's like a little bit of like the sexism in there with like the way he treats Sion, Mika, Sora, and
Yeah.
Celine.
But the acting
But
itself
other
is
than
a
that, he's pretty good.
decent job. And then obviously, yeah, Quan Chi, there's obviously some problematic stuff. But overall, he's all right, I guess.
Yes,
uh,
yes. Sorry, there was something else I was gonna zero. Okay, I just want to say, like, just admitting that he killed Scorpion family, like that would make sense if he was like a lot more powerful than Scorpion instead of like a bit more powerful than Scorpion, which is where he is power scaling wise.
oh, well, in Scorpion's Revenge, he is because he uses telekinesis to break every bone in Scorpion's body and then heals him.
Why would you do that? Also, doesn't he just let Torture get killed by Scorpion? Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
That's money,
who is
money.
presumably employed by him since he's doing like torturing on behalf of Shinnok, and Quan Chi seems to be the ruler of Neverrealm in that because he's got like his own throne. It's not in a building. It's like there's no buildings in the Neverrealm
No,
for
doesn't.
MK
Yeah, it's
Legends.
stupid.
It's so boring. But yeah, he has like his own
Yeah, the
like
NetherRealm
throne on
is
just this
like way
random
more
platform.
barren.
And Shinnok in that movie, which is somehow retconned by the next
Oh
movie,
god,
he's like Shinnok's actually in a prison. And the amulet's like an actual key. It is so dumb, and that's
I hate
what
it.
Quan
I hate
Chi
it.
wants Scorpion for. And I'm guessing that's why he killed the clan just to get Scorpion home. But also, he could get literally
Yeah, he
anyone to do
has
it.
no
He could get
other.
it himself because he can make portals anywhere.
Exactly. The only reason he couldn't get into the fucking Temple of Elements and shit is because it was protected by
Yeah,
gods.
yeah,
He
like.
even says like, "Oh, I'm not on the best of terms with your Thunder God." Like,
Everything that's like
so presumably,
everything has like portal like
yeah,
protection magic things.
yeah.
um,
Presumably, also he would have fought. He would have. I guess he would have fought like Raiden and his people during like the Ancient War when with Shinnok, where they killed the dinosaurs. So I guess that's why.
No, I no, because he wasn't with Shinnok at that time. But like the
Oh,
implication
yes.
is that when he frees Shinnok, that's when they first meet, and not that he was a servant beforehand.
Okay, yeah. I forgot. I was trying to I was trying to piece together how Quan Chi and Raiden knew each other before mythologies. Um,
Oh yeah.
let's just assume maybe Quan Chi did try to get the amulet by himself, and
I,
that's why.
I mean,
Anyway,
Quan Chi probably is like a public figure, like Shinnok, obviously, because everyone will.
yeah.
'Cause I think Raiden's still
Oh,
aware
that
of Shinnok and like his
right.
that he's like become the ruler in everyone, but obviously he's still trapped there in
That
his
reminds
mind.
me
So
of
while he's
something
aware of
really,
what's
really.
going on down there, he doesn't like
Yeah.
it's not a current threat to Earthrealm. Um,
Yes. And that reminds me of a really, really stupid thing that I'm going to talk about. The genesis, necessary alterations to Scorpion's backstory. With there's an episode of MK Legacy, which is essentially a rushed version of Scorpion's events, but live action, where Beyond just shows up and the
oh
family dies.
God.
They fight each other and blah, blue. It's the same like stupid altered version of the backstory in the Legends movies. And then the episode ends with Bihan turning out to actually have been Quan Chi in the sky, which is lame as fuck. It
Oh
removes
God.
it removes Bihan from having any reason to be involved with the rivalry. See
Yeah.
from him in any of that, which is so dumb. I
Yes.
think having Bihan be Hanzo's direct killer is literally the only like the thing, the linchpin that pulls that rivalry together. Senses.
Yeah. It makes him
Because
so much
otherwise,
more
Quan Chi just picked
interesting.
a random guy to manipulate or
Yeah.
to frame rather. I mean, he obviously would have beef with Bihan after the fact when Bihan becomes a problem for him in mythologies, and Bihan is responsible for like Serena defecting from it. The two of them beat the shit out of him. So there's that too. So yeah, Quan Chi is also an NPC in MK versus DC, where he basically like MK9 Quan Chi. It's the start of him like okay, he's doing too much in Armageddon, but it's not as annoying to me. I mean, I don't like it. I really don't like it. It's not like really in your face Quan Chi doing too much.
I think the fact that
MK
like it's a cinematic like cutscene story stuff for everything, like every event, that makes him more annoying. Because in MK9
yes.
he does everything Shang Tsung
Yeah,
should be
they give
doing.
him all of Shang Tsung's. So they give him all Shang Tsung's shit, and he does so much. Okay, let's go down. Let's go down. So first of all, this was first established in MK vs DC, but they carried it over for no reason. In this, specters and wraiths are not natural things that a soul can turn into when it enters another realm. Quan Chi just turns people into them, and that's how Scorpion and Noob are. So that's dumb. He
Which is
also
so
resurrects Sindel with her mind control, and he's credited with the Revenants. And he creates the Soulnado, and he heals Shao Kahn after Shao Kahn gets like punched a hole through his chest by Liu Kang. Oh my god! Oh my
yeah, he did a
god!
lot. He's a busy boy.
And he's like fighting for Shao Kahn in like the MK1 and 2 tournaments. Like, oh my god,
Yeah. I like him. I like the idea of him being present by like MQ1 and like he could potentially
present,
be like a tournament participant.
but
But like on behalf of like watching over things for like Shinnok and also like trying to
right,
like keep like make like their alliance stronger. But
yes,
the eventual betrayal because Shinnok and Quan Chi's plan is that eventually they're going to betray Shao Kahn. They're not thinking about
right, yeah.
Earthrealm winning like this stuff because the odds for them seem very unlikely. So their target is more so Shao Kahn. Um,
That reminds me of yeah, because in the ending of MK9, is holding Shao Kahn's fucked up, destroyed helmet, and he's like telling hologram Shao, "Oh, your plan worked perfectly, my lord. What plan?
yeah,
What plan?"
yeah,
I guess
that
to get
that
Earthrealm,
was
I guess to get Earthrealm and Outworld to mutually weaken each other, but they still come back from that. So
yeah.
it's
And also, Shinnok
um
waits 2 years before attacking. It's not like
yep.
an attack right after taking advantage of the damage.
Also, there's
So
kind of implications here and there that Shinnok knows about the previous timeline. It's weird and dumb, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's
um,
so stupid. And another case of Quan Chi doing too much. In one of the MK versus DC things, Quan Chi teams up with Lex Luthor because bald, I guess. I
oh,
don't know.
God.
So they try to do some evil shit, but then they get. I think they get stopped by like the Flash. Kang's ghost anyway. So
How many like B-Tech bootleg fucking Deadly Alliances are there now?
oh my
Because
god, seriously.
whenever there's two villains, it's like, oh my god, Deadly Alliance.
Yeah, they even have them team
Yeah.
up. They even have them team up to fight Kung Lao in the MK9 version of the MK2 tournament. They just job out
And they
both of
drop
them.
out to Kung Lao.
We
Oh my
like Kung Lao.
fucking
We just
god.
talked about it.
Yeah.
That no, no.
It doesn't work when these are the motherfuckers who killed him. When there was more aid. And the
Yeah,
2v1 stuff doesn't really work in the tournaments anyway, because that's just,
no. It
you
doesn't
know,
make sense. It
I
shouldn't be allowed in
the only time
within the
I did it
parameters of Mortal
in because Reborn, like my tournament stuff, because that's in a song I've been right, so I was just messing around with stuff. And
Kombat.
some works. I still think this kind of works, but because I had actual logic for it. But like Shao Kahn is arrogant, like about like Ermac now that he's like healed. So Jimmy, he's like Ermac, yeah, you can beat two of these guys up. Let's just speed things up, you know. And then obviously that justifies like losing and protects him in defeat. But what MK9 does is Shagan just gives like and Shang Tsung because it happens in MK1 for MK9 too. He just like fucking has like a bunch of like 2v1 fights going on, which surely that is breaking the rules, right? That's just breaking
That has to be a
something.
rule. That has
Um,
to be a rule. Let's
um,
talk about near the end of MK9 when they reveal the Revenants because I hate this bit. So Raiden is desperate because most of the heroes have been killed by mind-controlled Sindel, right? So he goes to the Nether Realm to try and get. He goes to the Nether Realm to try and get more help. You know, not
yeah.
like oh I don't know Order Realm.
Yeah.
Gonna go ask Otaru, but no, he goes to the Nether Realm to try and ask Quan Chi for help. And okay, let's break this down. Let's break this down because it's so fucking stupid. He treats Quan Chi as if he's in charge of the Nether Realm. He doesn't question why Quan Chi is acting like he's in charge of the Nether Realm. He doesn't ask about Shinnok. He doesn't ask about Lucifer. He doesn't. No one notices that Quan Chi is wearing Shinnok's amulet on his belt because they reused the Deadly Alliance design, but they didn't use Quan Chi's actual like amulet. That's its own thing. They just put Shinnok's amulet on there, and to do the same thing in MK versus DC, and no one questions it there either. And then there's this
Not even
bullshit
Shinnok
where Shao
questions it.
Kahn is able to give Quan Chi the souls of the Earth Realm fighters, not just Sindel's, but like the rest of them. And then he turns them into the Revenants and he sticks them on radar and he's like, okay, I can't do that. And Scorpion is just sitting on his ass, just I guess waiting for Quan Chi to give him orders. And there's even this like Raiden is like, oh, is that why you didn't save your family? So you could keep your place on Quan Chi's feet. Like, bro, he wasn't even working for Quan Chi when his family got killed. What the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And then there's this really obvious shift that happens where once Quan Chi has Noob Saibot at his disposal, Scorpion disappears and gets relegated to backup bitch.
Yeah.
So that
And MKX treats him
so
like
that
as
no
just a generic minion, even though he was shown off free
exactly.
will in the MK1 section at the same time.
Oh my god, it's so fucking stupid. So stupid. The only like saving grace of any of this is that in MKX they have Quan Chi fucking job out constantly as karma.
Yeah, it's fun.
Quan Chi is
MKX Crunchy is
getting his
fun.
ass beat. Like Serena says in a cutscene that he's like weaker without Shinnok being there, so he just gets his ass like that. Like one my favorite is when okay, I have two favorites. I have two favorites. One is in one of the flashback scenes where Sonya is able to help Raiden stop Johnny from getting turned into a revenant by stomping Quan Chi's fucking balls and destroying the man's testicles straight up. So that's fun. And then my second favorite is after beating Revenant Liu Kang, when Jax walks in. Okay, so Jax just solos into Quan Chi's fortress. Like honestly, like Kenji and Serena and the special forces will just stay behind. Jax just does it himself. He's like, I'm gonna go bag me a sorcerer. He doesn't give a fuck. We love you, Jax. We stand. So he beats Revenant Liu Kang, and then he goes to Quan Chi. And Quan Chi's like, wait a minute, we can talk about this. And it's Jack just boom, just uppercuts him like into like the throne, and like it breaks like a few like the skulls or whatever. Like goes up like one of those fucking test your strength things at a fucking carnival, and he's just knocked out, and that's it. And that's how the special forces capture him.
Yeah, FKX also portrayed him as like an old man, which is odd.
I think they're trying to show him as weaker, but it kind of he
Yeah.
feels old in a
And
way.
their
Is that
explanation is like very vague. It's just oh
yeah.
shit, no, yeah, no. Like,
He's in
like
the
you
MK.
could bring up many points. He doesn't have the amulet anymore. Shinnok gave him like magic buffs, I guess, which I don't even like because I feel like because there's stuff like the Daily Alliance where there was no Shinnok and Quan Chi is still a very credible threat. Um,
Right.
so I don't even necessarily like that. But also, you could just have because he's using because it's like I hate like the fact he can make
I mean,
revenant,
it
but
shows
you
how
could use
much of
that as like
Banner
him having
SAO,
drained his
like,
powers, on because that
yeah,
would take like a lot to like of magic to do make all
right.
those revenants.
I think
Um,
the fact that they even need to like say that he's quote unquote weaker is like just another symptom of how the market just jerks off
mhm.
T constantly. Because like the shit that he does on MK9 is jerking off, and then they're like, even like when he's fucking dead, Shinlik is like, ah yes, his plan was brilliant. And then you got Noob big upping it on Chief's patience, don't die. So he's like, bro, shut the fuck up. And then they talk him into the stupid retcon Sindel back, so I don't even want to get into that. Don't make me talk about it. We'll get to it when we get there. Okay, okay. Before we throw that piece of crap in F tier, not Quanchi, not Quanchi. We like him, but he's terrible. And in modern stuff, the general terrible. He shows up in the MKX talent where he's weird. He mostly shows up in flashbacks. I guess it's fine. He does well. Okay, not just flashbacks. Okay, he does a lot of stupid things. He does a lot of stupid. He he orders Revenant Katana to kill Moloch, which is lame. He kills Drama, which fucking sucks. He kills Havoc because he like Scorpion like takes his head to the and just like throws it at Moloch and Drama. He's like, here, you guys can have this. Quan Chi
Well,
just steps on it.
although
After
he
Havoc gives this really cool, ominous warning, like the Nether Realm will fall. You can't escape it. Like, bro, that was cool. And then he just gets killed. And that fucking sucks. And that shit doesn't get followed up on. I kind of followed up in my fanfic because in my fanfic, the Netherrealm is really unstable because there's nobody directly in control of it because the most of the demons don't take the Revenant's claim to rule seriously because why would they? Why would anyone
yeah.
give a shit? So that's fucking funny. So that's dumb. Other dumb things he does in the comics. It establishes that after Hanzo died, and I guess when he ended up in like the prison of souls, that she was like had him like naked, chained in a dark room, torturing him, to try and like get his like hellfire powers to show up. I guess like turn him into a specter that way or whatever. And then speaking of Quan Chi seeing people naked, uh, God. There's this bit where with Revenant Sub Zero, where I guess he was actually resisting the Revenant mind control now, like instead of being just normal like cyborg Revenant man.
Yeah, because of its cybernetics, which is such a non-explanation, which
Yeah,
is classic
he's being
NRS
held down
timeline.
by he's being held by Smoke and Jackson. Like they even go back to that MK3 shit where Koji's like, ah, cyborg soul. I can okay. Weird. By the way, that flashback through Cyber Sub Zero's memories is the only time that we actually see Sindel and MK. Um, yeah. So then
And
he
smoke.
rips the organic bits of Sub Zero's body because I guess he doesn't really like technology or whatever, even though Jackson's robot arms are right over there, and the Prison of Souls exists, and the Keepers exist,
And
which
his
are robots.
fortress in the Midnight Tower
His
had like
fortress,
fucking laser traps.
the fucking laser trap. And so he rips the organic components out, creates, and gives Sub Zero a new body, which, like, it's stupid, but I don't mind it because I don't blame them for going back to Sub Zero. Who the fuck cares about Sub Zero? Like,
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like, hey, and
yeah.
your ideas fucking suck. Stop trying to like force
Yeah,
your shit takes
yeah.
into
Because when you do the
UK.
Revenant thing, like zombie cyborg Sub Zero is stupid. So he creates Sub Zero new body. So of course Sub Zero's naked in front of him. Anyway, Jack, Smoke, and
Yeah,
Quanti have all seen Sub Zero naked. It's canon.
Smokers
So
in
that's a
Sub-Zero's
thing.
cock. This is such good fuel for any shippers.
Oh my god. Oh
But
my. Are there any Sub
it's
Zero X Jack
interesting.
shippers?
It's interesting
The
that
two.
Quan Chi bothered to grow his skin back. Oh, I gotta make
Yeah,
you look
that's.
all nice.
That made you look sexy. Mm. Do you think Quanti gave him that beard? No, no, never mind. He grows it later. I forgot that he looks like MK3 Sub Zero. Anyway, um, also, are there any Sub Zero X Jack shippers, by the way? They're both the two Revenants that got restored and shit. Like, I feel like there's something there. Anyway,
Why weren't Jax's arms defying the revenant process?
I don't know because I guess there's not like programming, like to the level of like affecting his mind, like the separate. I don't know. doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense. Mercifully, Quan Chi sits out MK11. They do
yeah,
take every advantage that they mentioned. So that's funny. We already explained the latest movies. There are cut scenes in Annihilation where Quan Chi would have been there to set up the next movie, and he looked really cool. That's a shame. Apparently, like the actor couldn't speak English super well or something, which is unfortunate. But
yeah. It was just for like a post-credit thing where he wouldn't actually speak. He just
yo,
bombed
Quan
out
Chi,
Shinnok.
Quan Chi is
So
the
I'm guessing it would be
Thanos
the
of the Mortal
Shinnok
Kombat.
guy. It would just be the guy who was acting Shinnok, just like giving orders to him, like, oh yes,
Quan Chi,
our plan's working. Yes.
Quan Chi is the Thanos of the Mortal Kombat cinematic universe.
I mean, that's the closest. That's the
Challenge
closest
them is
comparison.
the course fatality. And Quan Chi turns to the camera and smirks. Oh my god.
um,
So
yeah,
that
I don't get
shit.
11, but instead they decide have Shang Tsung be like a main antagonist, which doesn't work out Quan Chi. But whatever. That's the story for it.
Aftermath.
But the other
We'll get
stuff.
to that when we get to Shang Tsung.
Yeah, I think Aftermath solidified me liking Quan Chi more than Shang Tsung. Also, when Quan Chi's
Yeah, no,
possessed, he's just more
definitely.
he's more likable than Shang Tsung.
Yeah.
Like likable in you're a fun villain way.
Right.
So yeah, he gets a lot of
And
criticism
he
for
doesn't
mainly his
feel creepy
MK9
like Shang
stuff.
Tsung does sometimes.
Um, and like the criticism of MK9 Conchi is valid. I do find it questionable how that's like the main thing the fandom seems to pick up on. Than the Sullivan Dell Recon, which the latter
Right.
that makes sense. But yeah,
Thank
Conchi
God.
specifically, he is still the best villain in the NRS games. He's not like a fucking sexist, gross, like misogynistic motherfucker. He's just a dude who
No.
was forced in our face for one game. I mean, Armageddon
Is
and
he
versus DC2, but
right?
no one really points to those games. It's always just MK9. Like,
No.
he sucks in
Even though his
MK9,
versus
but
right.
yeah,
Even though his versus DC portrayal is like very obviously the precursor to his MK9 portrayal, like,
yeah.
but nobody pays attention to it, so that's weird.
Because I think it's odd. I think it's a very bad like overuse for him, but also like whatever he does, like role wise, at least in like those games, it made sense. I just wouldn't have done that. And like his
Yeah, I
personality, he's
kind of get
still
what
in
you mean.
character, so it
Right.
actually damages him a lot less than what it initially seems like. But you still
It's
have YouTubers like the fucking Four Snake who like fucking get their 2 inch out and like, oh my god, this character sucks. You gotta hate this
it's
character.
too.
Shang Tsung clone, 0 out of 10 character. And that influences people in the fandom to start hating the characters. It's like what happens to every 3D era character. Luckily, people are competent enough to realize Conchi's cool. Probably just because he returns
Yes.
a bunch. That's usually
No,
why people end
because
up
in
liking
modern stuff, yeah,
MK4 or 3D era characters if they've been in a
right,
modern
yeah.
thing.
You still find people who are like, oh, the only good ones are Kenshi, Quan Chi, and Shinnok. Like, shut the fuck up.
I wonder why you think that. It's almost like that the 3 that I use the most.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. It's really fucking stupid. Like, holy shit. Anyway, so yeah, Quan Chi is in like a similar position, I think, to Raiden, where like the shit that he does, the shit that he's given isn't frustrating from a character standpoint, but it's extremely frustrating from a plot standpoint.
Yeah,
Like the way Quan Chi is weaved into the actual story is very, very frustrating, but there's nothing wrong with him as a character.
agreed. He's probably the most synthesized, like yeah, like, in terms of characters who made like multiple appearances as villains, he's the most consistent. Which
Yeah,
says a
no,
lot about
absolutely.
how shit the villains in MK have become.
Yeah, the only other like really consistent one I think is Onaga, but Onaga two full appearances.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's just in such an
Because
odd one. Like,
even Dagon like feels off in like the MKX comics, and then
oh
we'll
yeah.
get into some of the stuff that drags Shinnok down. Because Shinnok,
Mm.
Dagon, and Onaga are my favorite MK main villains by far.
Yeah.
Like I like Quan Chi and stuff, but he can't get close to those three for me.
Yeah, I think in terms of like objective goodness, they're definitely the best.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of handling, conceptually, probably yes, they're still definitely up there. But obviously, you can make a case for like guys like Quan Chi if you're talking conceptually, because the main villains in MK they're all good concepts. And Quan Chi's a very fun concept. Like I said, you can actually like do a lot of expanding on him even still, and
Yes,
you can do
I
so much
agree.
with the character and his role. But the thing
Yeah,
is, they do too much with him, and the stuff they're doing
right.
isn't actually that great, and it's usually
Too
kind
forced.
of make the Scorpion stuff seem more important.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
so it's usually like very boring, like stuff that is like very irrelevant to Quan
Yeah.
Chi in the grand scheme of
Weird
things. It's
way.
usually just stuff for Shinnok or stuff for Scorpion.
Yeah.
So it's not good for
No.
him.
No. Um, yeah, yeah. It's a shame. Like I said, he peaked into the Alliance. Him and Shang Tsung made a great like villain duo there. That was really cool. One little interesting thing I want to mention in that scene, okay, it's the really overrated one of Sub Zero and Scorpion making peace and whatever. Uh, Sub Zero takes Scorpion into a room where he shows him he has like fucking Sector's head and arm connected by a wire just sitting on the table, just fucked up. He
Yeah,
uses like a Sector's hologram projector to show like a meeting that she had with Sector. I
I
guess
keep
like Sector
forgetting this
operating on
scene.
a Nero's behalf sometime after the Shirai Ryu massacre, where like it seems like the Lin Kuei are kind of like they're like, oh, he's like, yeah, I'm like, sure you like what I did what your grandmaster wanted. Like, come on, and Sector's like, yeah, but Scorpion's still around, works for you. That's kind of like the Lin Kuei are kind of a little bit less keen on Chi. They realize that he's turned the only Shirai Ryu survivor into like one of his personal minions. They're like, sus.
That's
So that's
kind of
kind of
sus,
interesting.
bro.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. By the way, that little hologram is the last time I see Sector's human form. So anyway,
Yeah, and then Scorpion proceeds to wait 5 years before but and then 5 years later, when the special forces have him in custody, and like he's
yeah, and
like,
then all of a sudden
I'm
he's
going to
got
ruin all
like
my
living
friendships
in
with
a
everyone to kill
patient.
him
Yep,
and ruin their plans of restoring the reference because I'm a selfish
yep,
asshole. Even though it
yep.
probably would have been like a week at most process, I still don't think the
Yep.
plan was a good one they had. But like, come on, that's not why he
I
went
think
against
I think
them.
it was a good. I think it was a good plan based on what they knew.
I suppose so.
I think they could have threatened Quan Chi enough to force him to comply, especially with Raiden there, and especially with Sonya and Jax, who have beaten the absolute shit out of him before.
But yeah, we'll get into why I do not like
Or I
that
mean,
that
more they
Scorpion
could have
chapter more
they could have
in it
tied it
when we
together.
discuss Scorpion's character because
Yeah,
that's more about
yeah,
Scorpion. Quan Chi himself doesn't really do
yes.
anything besides like, oh Scorpion, don't hurt me, I'm too weak.
To be fair,
And
there
the
is
thing is,
one.
Quan Chi being afraid of death is really fucking dumb because Quan Chi as a demon can return from the death whenever he
Yeah,
wants.
he would just form in
He's been
another plane of the netherrealm.
he was already dead. I mean, it's not necessarily confirmed, but like it seems like he died 2 times during the Midway stuff, and he's still back around
He died.
Armageddon.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
He exploded after he was defeated in
yeah,
mythologies,
which I'm
and
guessing
he
I
comes
I
back
don't
at
know.
the end.
Yeah, it's very strange there,
And
but
then he was killed by
presumably he
Raiden's
must have.
explosion in Inception intro.
Yeah, yeah.
There are ways that you could explain it. There are two main ones. There's your idea from Reborn, where he knows that he would reform, but he's avoided dying even once so much that he's like afraid of it, and it's like a phobia for him. The other way is what my personal explanation is, which is that to just to say that he's so evil, his soul is so like full of darkness and blah blah blah, that he would sink that if he dies, he sinks to such a low plane in the Netherrealm that he can't get out
Yeah.
without any kind of external aid from someone like Shinnok.
Yeah, because the thing is, obviously from Serena's lore, we know that the demons reform, and
Yes.
they haven't provided any information that contradicts this. There's no like specifics as to some demons might not reform. It's not like they've clarified anything like that. So yeah, from the
No.
knowledge we have, Quan Chi will just reform every time, and we've seen other
Right.
evidence from Deception intro and mythologies that he does after death.
Yeah.
He just comes back.
Yeah.
And obviously, because he has port,
Yeah.
he
Exactly.
can just do inter-realm portal stuff, which
Plus,
used to be
yeah.
unique to
Plus,
him. But not anymore. Like so many
it
motherfuckers can
used to
just
be
do
like
that.
his gimmick that he could just go through the
Yeah.
realms at will. Yeah.
Um.
And the Armageddon, like he comes back in Armageddon, which would suggest that he reformed, and so do Moloch and Draman, who were presumably still in the fortress when it exploded, so they probably died and reformed. Draman is
Yeah.
back in the Netherrealm in the Armageddon conquest, so that's a thing. I think we covered everything. G.
Yeah. And that's taken a
That was a
while, which
lot.
I expected because there's a lot to
That was a
destroy.
lot. Yeah, that's a
Um.
lot. So I think depending on like I know you really like him, but his modern stuff is also very frustrating. So I think depending on how we look at it, I think we could put him either much lower in B tier because the ways that he's misused I think are a bit more are a lot more frustrating, at least to me anyway, compared to like Jade or for instance. If it's that if you think it's that damaging, which I probably don't, but if it is that damaging, we could put him like in D tier, but like just below Frost and Melina.
So here's the thing, actually. I think in terms of betrayals, because just a bad usage of him, nothing else. I think the betrayals of Jade and Ermac in like MKX, those are much worse than anything Quan Chi's gotten. Because Quan Chi's at least still Quan Chi. Ermac is just a
Yeah.
dickhead for no reason. Jade is basically a race traitor and is in love with a
So
fucking
bad.
genocidal asshole. So I'd
Yeah.
actually say Quan Chi is at least top of B.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
because I do agree that like obviously there's like all those problems that come from the modern stuff with like how he's
Mhm.
overused and does some like ridiculous stuff, and I think that
Yeah.
knocks him down from A tier,
Right.
and so
Uh.
I think B, like top of B, would work in my
Okay.
opinion.
Out of like I know I'm biased in saying this, but like personally, I do like a lot of the other B tier characters more. I
Uh,
get where you're coming from.
I,
Hello. What'd you say?
I don't know.
Okay. I heard like a weird noise.
Yeah,
Um.
my thing closed for no reason, but I got it open again.
Okay. Okay.
um,
So yeah, yeah. So like I said, like personally, just out of bias, honestly, like I would put him below a lot of the other B characters, but I do get where you're coming
okay, where though? That's the thing.
from. Hold on, let me think, Aruni. Maybe like either like below Kai or below Baraka. I think. Hold on,
I'm
let me
looking
look
more of a
actually.
nose,
You know what?
actually.
Okay, how about just below Movado actually?
Yeah, yeah, actually.
Because like MKX Comic Havoc is also very damaging.
Yeah, and more so because it's completely out of character for Havoc. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think
Okay.
he's solid. And again, there's nothing again because whenever he's brought back, just as long as they do something with him that isn't like the same fucking Scorpion shit, and I
Mhm.
don't like force him as like I mean, well, he obviously he's gonna be like one of the more important villains in any of his appearances. But just
But
chill the
don't like
fuck out. Don't have him
right.
do stuff that
Don't
other characters have done. Stop
right.
start him doing like necromancy shit. I mean, I'm fine with him having like some necromancy because he can make skeletons. That's always been a thing. Um,
Right.
but yeah, just making like full on revenant stuff feels like a Shinnok thing. Again, because he does stuff on behalf of Shinnok. Just have Shinnok do some things for once. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, yeah. They always pick him over like using Shinnok more directly, which is annoying.
Yeah.
Um,
I get the
yeah.
idea because Shinnok obviously, he's got more important things to be doing, but he
Right.
doesn't. That's the thing.
Yeah. But the other thing is they haven't done this, and I'm kind of worried that they might at some point. He has the potential to be forced in the way that Shang Tsung was in Aftermath. They haven't done it yet, but I fear that it might
Oh
go
god,
that
yeah,
route,
yeah, it'd be
especially if he's
awful.
in like K-12 or whatever.
Yeah, um,
So that's a bit of a problem. But
I
yeah.
I reckon being
On to
MK12, and I reckon we'll get like some Samesy stuff. Probably not. I feel like competent enough to know. Again, it's like the Seven Dao retcon. There's been so much backlash from it that I feel they'd be competent enough to not like repeat the same mistakes, but I never know because
Wait,
NetherRealm
is
Studios
there
and they're
backlash
incompetent.
about? Is there like a lot of fandom backlash against Aftermath? Like I know people didn't like the ending, but there are
No,
still
not
stupid
Aftermath.
people
I mean
who act like,
MK9 Quan Chi.
oh
I don't think
yes, yes,
they're
yes.
gonna push him much now because of that.
Okay,
That might even be why he NKX is so big. I don't know like how early people were complaining about Nine Quan Chi. I have no
yeah,
clue.
yeah.
But yeah, next we have, and I reckon this won't actually take that long. Is Shiva, and the reason I think this
Shiva.
It's because she is literally a nothing character in all the MKX comics. I shit you not.
Yeah,
She was a jailer for Shao Kahn, and like at one point tries to betray Khan with the help of Kano, and Kano basically just like sells her out, to become a
yeah,
general
yeah,
for Shao Kahn,
and then she
and that
gets
kills her.
yeah.
She returns in Armageddon, seemingly for no reason, because she
Hold
doesn't got
on,
like a bio. Has a
right?
racist rivalry with Matara, which is lame as fuck.
Yep,
And
yep.
shit, that's about it.
Wait, wait, hold on, real quick. An apparition of her appears in Armageddon Conquest. Anyway, I actually do want to detail her MK3 stuff because there was a little bit more detail to that. So yeah, I don't. Okay, I'll go with the jailer thing. I thought that was an MK9 thing, but yeah, she was working for Shao Kahn already beforehand, and she was appointed to be Sindel's bodyguard. But she was very aware that the Shogun had lost favor with Shao Kahn after the failures of Goro. She was starting to feel like her people may be at risk under Shao Kahn, and that was like a thing for her. And then obviously, yeah, the rivalry with Matara started there because he became like the leader of Shao Kahn's forces essentially during the invasion, or at least the extermination
Yeah.
squads. So that was something. And then in her ending, which isn't canon, but I think is interesting, she does end up betraying him and defeats Matara, defeats Shao Kahn. She not only to restore not only her to restore her people like back to like their top position. She also does actually free Earthrealm from the merger and like leave it alone, which I think is interesting. I think it's one of the earliest instances of like showing one of these villain characters as having traits of being potentially redeemable. So I just wanted to put that.
Yeah. Presumably
Um,
she would have. Well, actually, no, because she was dead. Never mind. I was thinking because obviously the show come out with Katana. No, she would
yeah,
have been part of
it's
it. No,
it's
she's
really
dead.
yeah, it's a shame that they didn't think of that. That's really
Yeah.
frustrating. Also, you can find her like laying face down in like a random house in the Netherrealm in the subject. So oof.
Yeah. It's just that one empty room. It's just very
She
odd.
got drunk. She got drunk. Yeah.
Alright.
So that's weird. MK9, she's a
MK9
jobber.
establishes the jailer thing. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Which is okay. It's kind of like a
it's
boring role,
fine.
really. But
Yeah.
it's something other than bodyguard for someone who died 1,000 years ago. So at least fills in the gaps as to what she's actually doing.
Right,
Um,
right. Because the thing about the bodyguard thing is that she's Sindel's body. She's supposed to in MK3 anyway. She's supposed to be Sindel's bodyguard when Sindel is resurrected as part of Shao Kahn's plan. And she's the one that Kitana and Jade have to like get through before they're able to encounter Sindel and break her free of the mind control. So that's another thing.
yeah, and then it's like brought
Uh,
again in aftermath is as if like it was the thing before her death, and she doesn't know she's like a bitch.
as if it's like her defining thing. It's really dumb.
Yeah, it's
And
truly
it
like she just hid that like personality trait. Like
yeah,
in
it's
universe. But you go into the retcon, then that doesn't make sense. That's literally
no.
you guys admitting that this retcon doesn't work by having characters in universe be like, what?
Yeah,
um,
it's really idiotic. It's really dumb.
Brain dead.
So that so yeah, and then like, is there anything to talk about with her role in canon? She really
Yeah,
is
well,
like a
she just drops out a bunch. Her jailer thing
yeah.
doesn't actually matter because she's still like doing the in a tournament and shit. I mean,
It's just
she is the person like guarding Simon. She's imprisoned in the sewers, the Deadpool, which still has
right.
no real story purpose. I don't know why they use it in
I don't know why
stories ever.
the dead like
Um,
also like I feel like the Deadpool like it's a really random location, but also it's not that hard to give it a story role. Just make it an area in Shao Kahn's dungeons where they torture and kill people with acid. There, like it
yeah,
doesn't. It's not that
which I
hard to
guess
give it a
is its
plot.
purpose in nine. But the thing is, you go from the armory into the Deadpool. And then
That
in MK11, you go from the Deadpool into the Soul Chamber. Like what? Like what? What is the floor plan for Shao Kahn's fortress? Is it
yeah
even
that
in Shao Kahn's fortress anymore? I don't fucking know.
yeah that feels really weird.
um. Also, yeah. So there's the MKS guys, which like actually give it some development finally.
Yes, this is where we get into the meat of Shiva, and basically most of the reason we like her. I mean, she has like little flashes of like potential of like character potential in earlier stuff, like her little bits of honorable traits in MK3. Um, but yeah, this is like meat and potatoes of Shiva,
Yeah.
which like for how bad the MKS comics are, like that's kind of a damning statement to say about a character. Um, unless they were someone who was like introduced in that, like for Forest Fox.
Yeah. She's probably the character helped the most by MKX comics. Now that I think about it.
Yes. Well, actually, her and Kentaro.
Yeah, like the
With the
Shokan in general, probably.
right, right.
Goro aside, probably because he gets fucking
Goro
dismembered.
aside. Well, Goro and Gorback aside, honestly. Like it really is just even. So what happens is after well she's obviously part of the Shokan forces. Like she's one of the like the leaders of the Shokan forces that are fighting against Kotal when the Shokan are still opposed to Kotal. Like there's this really cool panel of her and Kintaro at the forefront of a group of Shokan forces, and also for some reason the only warlords are on the Shokan side, even though they're Netherrealmers, but whatever, it's fine. Uh, hello?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. And then after Goro is crippled and Gorback is killed, because the comic does not acknowledge that Queen Maya exists. The Shokans, the way their tradition is to hold a tournament in order to determine who becomes the next ruler of their people when the line of succession has been wiped out, right?
Yeah, which is
So King,
cool, except MK11 makes it about like sex and shit, like gender sex. um,
yeah. They make it so that the male Shokan are sexist and like, oh, you couldn't possibly like shut the fuck up.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'll get into
and
that.
Goro like wants to participate but doesn't because Kentaro talks him down. He's like, bro, you're really weak in. That's not a good idea. But Shiva does participate and she manages to succeed and is crowned Queen of the Shokan, which is like her biggest role ever. And she's a very very good queen. She's very honorable and dutiful. She looks out for her people, and she tries and she makes very rational decisions, even with the city situation that she's stuck with. Which unfortunately,
Yeah,
one of those decisions ends up being having to have the Shokan submit to Kotal, but like with how weakened they are, kind of understand it. And she's very honorable and sensible, which is all good stuff. And she unfortunately, Kentaro ends up getting killed, which we talked about when we talked about him. That fucking sucks. Um,
yeah,
so they do that shit of him getting his head torn off by blood code controlled Sonya. But contrary to like what modern MK tends to do, it doesn't become like a big revenge thing. Shiva's like, oh, it's okay. Sonya does actually apologize, which is like very very surprising for modern Sonya. Like Jesus, that's a whole other thing that we could be getting into. Uh, and and she was like, "Nah, you good." Like Kentaro like died a warrior's death because he died fighting. So yeah, but like even though she like sort of eased Sonya's conscience, she was still affected by Kentaro. She became like a very close ally to her. She became queen and everything. You get the vibe that they were like friends and stuff, and all of that is really really good.
yeah,
That that helps both of those characters a lot. Unfortunately, MK11 exists.
yeah. So I'm continue with the Queen thing. Um, they give a lot of details, like the Donut thing. It was like 23 wins, and they were all men or whatever. And she killed them all.
Yeah,
Like,
which is
what the
also
fuck?
fine.
Yeah, it's stupid, and it just shows like the dumb show contradictions that are just randomly established whenever. And even and Shiva seems like a very competent queen as well. So why she goes along with those things is odd. There's all like
Yeah.
the establishment of like sexism that the show can have, and that's just like an interesting, which is
Yep.
dumb and yucky. And because
Yeah.
the idea, I guess, that MK11 has is that is like actually, hey, yeah, strong woman, and that would
Yeah.
be very cool and empowering if it didn't feel like fucking um what is the word I'm looking for? Um, um
Pandering. Pandering. It's pandering.
yeah,
Shiva is the main vessel of this sexist faux feminist pandering bullshit with trying to make her a strong woman, which just results in like dumb sexism things, and
It
it's
ends up
I
feeling
hate it.
satirical sometimes because he's a fucking
Right, it
doll.
ends up feeling like she's a straw man, like parody of a feminist because, of course, that's what these kind of people think is funny.
Yeah, so it's very damaging to her character because she's
It's
incredibly
really
dumb,
terrible.
says
Okay,
really stupid shit, and
let's get into that. Okay, so the main story, she's actually like fine, whatever.
and she
She shows
seems
up.
to,
Well, not shows up. They go to her when they're trying to unite out to fight Shao Kahn, which like makes sense. Sure, whatever.
yeah,
And it's one of those it's one of those bits that's kind of annoying to me from the perspective of the way Katana's character is written, because there's a bit of that whole, oh yeah, you'll fare better under Kotal than Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn is the worst. When if you are a Tarkatan or a Shokan, Kotal is way worse.
yeah,
So like, no,
yeah, it doesn't work as an argument.
it really doesn't.
Shao Kahn
Um,
bad, Kotal good is not a smart thing to say.
no, it's not an
Um,
accurate way to look at the situation. It's not a nuanced way to look at the situation. It
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
And then she was like, yeah, but essentially, hey, if you get the Tarkatans to help, then we'll help, which is
Yeah, because I
kind
guess
of nice,
both.
but also very random. Like,
I
when has she had like a good relationship with the
I
Tarkatans?
think the implication is that if they have both of those species on their side, their fighting force will be strong enough to properly oppose Shao Kahn.
I guess. Damn,
I
long-term
guess.
storytelling from that Cyrax filler fight with Baraka and Shiva just randomly show up. Damn.
Oh my god.
um, yeah, it's kind of nice, I guess. So yeah,
I
they go and do
guess.
that, which gives the Tarkatans like their development, which is nice. And then she was like, "Yeah, I'll help now." And then yeah, they beat up Tarkatan, and then Gargan's ruler. And then by like the end of it, Sea of Blood stuff, Shiva and the Shogun
She's
obviously with Katana.
she's there.
Yeah, so it's fine. She's
It's
not around long enough for any real problem to show up. But then Aftermath happens, and fucking Christ, I've said that a lot now. Yeah. So Shiva is in Aftermath. She has her own chapter, and
oh god.
it
You talked
establishes.
about it in your aftermath critique.
Yeah, I've done a like half an hour review of this chapter, but yeah, it establishes like because they
Yep.
go to Shiva just because she was like the bodyguard of Sindel, back in the day, which doesn't really make sense, and because I see it's like evil Sindel, and Shiva acts shocked that she's evil and loves Shao Kahn, uh, even though that would imply she was keeping it hidden even after becoming Empress of Outworld. So I don't
They
know
make
why
the
she would.
they make the dumb excuse in Elevendel's ending that it was about retaining Kitana's loyalty, but that didn't pan out anyway.
But what does that mean? Because I was a fucking baby at that time.
Yeah,
She
it's
dies when Katana's like a fucking child or a baby even, like very young. So that wouldn't even matter. This baby is not silently judging you. Fucking hell. What an idiot. And Shiva is also a massive idiot. Same for like the
yep.
Shokan as a whole in Aftermath. It is no less of a problem in her chapter. It's just like an odd way of getting her on this contrived team of specifically DLC characters. Um,
Yep.
and then because Shang Tsung, I guess, doesn't want to make a portal for whatever reason, we need filler
Yep.
fights. Which when they go to Deadpool, having a filler fights. She said some very fucking racist shit to her Tarkatans.
Oh
Um,
Jesus.
which I just mentioned that like she seems to like the Tarkatans in the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. What weren't they the ones that you're like, hey, if you don't have the other side overthrowing Shao Kahn, there's no chance?
Yeah, so yeah, she beats up Baraka, Aaron Black, who for some
I
reason
mean,
is still
makes sense.
employed by Katana, even though he's a mercenary. Um,
Yeah.
um, then Jade wants to protect Kotal, like fuck off. Um, then
Uh,
Katana, she beats Katana, implying she could beat Shao Kahn, which is based, but also
but
that's strange. And also beats up
no.
a fucking already like crippled Kotal, which is based. Yeah, and yeah, that's about it.
Which,
They
by the
all
way,
attack her on the
they,
basis of, hey, you're with Shang Tsung. Don't you dare try to explain
yep.
yourself. We got to fight now. Which you literally
There's a
predicted before Aftermath came out that that would be her entire chapter.
Yep. Yeah, we both predicted it, didn't we? We were both like, oh, all the filler fights are going to be
Yeah.
misunderstandings over the fact that Shang Tsung is there.
Oh my god, shocked emoji. Shang Tsung, we must fight now. I'm not gonna fight Shang Tsung. I'm gonna fight you specifically because it's your chapter.
Yep. It's really dumb. Also, there's a horrible intro dialogue where she says that she used to have a crush on Kotal. Okay, no, shut up. Stop trying to act like Kotal is
No.
attractive or desirable because he ain't.
Very dumb.
He's
Yeah, the
he's
Angel is
he's
when she's like a massive fucking idiot, really. But
yep,
yeah, she like her parents later, because she doesn't join the heroes, like stop Tetron for some reason.
yep. They
Why
even
would you
make
want that extra
ret-
health? Um,
I don't know. I don't know. And then she doesn't she die somehow?
yeah, so what happens is when Sindal's fucking chapter starts, she
Oh,
goes to get Shao Kahn, who is for some reason in the Colosseum Beast Pen because they don't have like a prison stage. Which that is not a safe place to keep him. Why didn't you just
no.
execute him on the spot? Why have you left him here?
But
And the thing is,
why was
it's not like
why
they were going to
why
like spare him or anything because those two generic Shokan who were watching over him are like, okay, let's kill him now. This is hours after like his defeat, and you're doing it specifically now when Sindal's here.
right?
That is so dumb. It makes Shokan look like massive idiots. And then, yeah, it's like, oh my god, I love you, Shao Kahn. Ah, let's
Speaking
go
of,
do shit. And then she was
that's
like,
how she
oh,
sounds now.
Empress, tell me I misheard. No way you're evil, even though I've been your bodyguard and seen had a close relationship with you, as established in the previous chapter. Oh my god,
It's
I
like
can't believe you'd be
is
evil.
is the retcon supposed to be some kind of in-universe time alteration thing? Like they
No
don't establish
fucking no.
anything like that.
They don't think
Like
that much
anything?
about it. Um, so yeah, they fight. She doesn't even get like a death scene. After you beat it, she just establishes dead, and then Sindar's like to like the dumbass Shogun who keep grunting like apes. They don't speak. They just
Oh my
randomly
god!
turn their monkey brain on and like, and then Sindar's like
You know what it is?
Katana did this, join me and we'll avenge Katana. So the Shogun don't question the fact that Sindar's now is Shao Kahn, and yeah, they're just like, oh,
You
she
know,
must be telling the truth, let's rejoin Shao Kahn and not question it
you know,
because we are
you know
generic
what it
Shogun.
is. Because the big problem, one of my big problems with MK11 is that it's clearly trying so hard to mimic the feel of a blockbuster movie. Like everybody's already made the jokes about how it's trying to ape like Avengers Endgame and Infinity War.
Oh, what a
Um,
twist! What a great twist! It doesn't make sense
no, no,
though.
no,
Do a
no, no,
twist
no,
that
not
makes
that,
sense.
not even that. But I figured out like the reason I think the show kind of so dumb is because they wanted to just make them like the orcs from Lord of the Rings.
Oh my god.
That's I think that's what it is. They just wanted to make them, and like that. That's also why like the demons are just dumb beasts in that too. Like it's just
Yeah, they go back on all the
MK.
development the species had gone over the comics in 11. The Tarkans in particular, they just all end up rejoining Shao Kahn, undoing the
Oh
whole
my
like
god, I hate
message of
it.
like the best part of the base story in 11 was Katana uniting Owl. I mean,
Right.
excluding the species that just aren't in the game. Like the message was so nice, and it was nice to have like some alliance there with some species.
But the thing
It's
is,
kind of like the MK4 alliance. I'm like, oh, I like
yeah,
that. But no, they join Shao Kahn immediately for money in a new era.
yep,
So they're joining Shao Kahn, betraying Katana to get finances in a completely different universe.
yep. It's so stupid. Like if that was the motivation for like specifically Kano and Aaron Black joining up, like fine. Like like
Yeah.
that many people know, and they'd already fucked up the depiction of the people of Outworld by having the people in the Coliseum. Like Shao Kahn shows up with no context, starts beating up Kotal, and then the people of Outworld just start rooting for him. It's so stupid. Like it's this stupid thing where they like they treat the people of Outworld like they're so primitive and basic, and that they don't care about their own
Yeah.
freedom. They just go for whoever's strong. So
They
like
treat the
awful and
Coliseum crowd like they're
dehumanizing.
watching like a fucking WWE show. Like, no, that's real. That's the real tyrant, guys. He was like fucking with you guys for so long.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it would
it's
put over Shao Kahn so much if like the entire crowd was like horrified at his return. That would be so much better than them going, "Oh my God, it's
yeah.
Shao Kahn!
If
Oh,
people
please
started like
come on
running
me!"
away and stuff, like yeah, that would have been dope.
Yeah,
Like they're like, oh shit, he's back, run
yeah,
away,
like on side, it's
flee.
like, oh fuck. But
Yeah,
no, it's like,
exactly.
oh, it's Shao Kahn. That's so cool. We love Kotal, but now we love Shao Kahn more. But we're gonna like
No,
Katana though when she beats Shao Kahn. If you
it would
win, then you have our loyalty.
it would be like if in Attack of the Clones, after Anakin Padme defeat those monster things in the arena, all of the
They
Geonosians just turned on Count Dooku.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God. It would be like, well, it's like what they did. What they did really is they just turned like every person outward to have the brain of a midway era Tarkatan.
It really does feel that way. It's so stupid. And it just it feels so like obviously Outworld isn't a real culture, but like it feels so freaking it feels like so racist and like what's the word I'm trying to look for?
If
Like just that kind of like, oh, look at these primitive foreign people. Oh, they're not like a sophisticated, Earth realmer. It's like it's so bad. And it really, really that combined with the intros, like it really, really damages Shiva's character. It's just
yeah. I guess condescendingly the word. Same for like Shiva's fucking like feminism stuff, which I can't even tell is like a genuine effort or not. That's how bad it is.
nope,
Um,
nope.
because she just says dumb stuff. Like fucking
The
women are inherently the strongest species. Like it's inherently the strong agenda. No, that that's not true. And like I hate the motherfuckers who go, "Oh my God, men so strong, women so puny and weak." But the thing is, like that's why we have gender classes to begin with. Is obviously like fucking biology. So Shiva being an idiot and just saying like factually incorrect stuff like that
well,
does not feel good. It's not a good
if
thing.
if that's true of the Shokan species, that would be cool. But they're just doing it to make her
And the thing is,
like
it's
because they
it's
think
not. It's not. Guess who the one playable Shokan who has never been a proper boss character is? The woman. It like her entire existence feels sexist, and now all of a sudden they're having her be like,
exactly
"Oh, men suck," and
right. They've always
any
treated
other
her
species but the Shokan suck.
as
Also, she's
yeah,
still being portrayed as a hero. She's on the hero side, but she's just a piece of
right,
shit and a moron. I hate her.
right. They've always treated her as weaker and secondary, and they make her dumb because they think an empowering strong woman just hates men. Like
Yeah, her
that's
existence
not even
offends me. Like how the fuck you manage that? With this four-armed half dragon fictional creature. How have you managed to offend women with her? Like, how? I can't believe this. Well done. Well done, Neverland. Well fucking done. Um,
yeah, like especially like from your perspective. I mean, obviously, there's like even with the distinction that even with the distinction that she the character is cis and you're trans, like it must feel like really insulting as a woman.
yeah.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
And
Oh my
it's
god.
it's offending like literally anyone who supports women's rights, basically. Like
Yep.
anybody who
Yep.
like cares and obviously like cares about like MK, they're gonna like, hey, you're a piece of shit, Shiva. I don't like you. That's
Yeah,
like,
it's like they
it's
wrote
the
her. It's
prime
like they wrote her.
example of how MK11 can't write good heroes
No,
because they're all
they can't write
unlikable,
women.
they're all
Firstly,
bigoted. It's so bad. Imagine.
it feels like yeah, it feels like they wrote her to appeal to the fucking red pill crowd that thinks a feminists are a joke and blah blah blah. Like it's
Yeah,
so fucking stupid.
because
I
they
hate it
made her
so much.
embody like the stereotypical dumbass feminist. Like
Yeah,
fuck off, honestly.
It's so bad. Oh, there's another stupid intro where they even like make a dumb self-aware joke about the costume thing, where Shao
Oh
Kahn is like, "Oh, I liked
God.
it better when you were wearing the bikini thing," and she was like, "Oh, I don't dress for you, motherfucker." Which, like, yeah, that's the right response, but like acknowledging it at all was really stupid. And oh my god,
And it implies Shao Kahn chose what they wore back in MK9 then. Which, your daughters, yeah, fucking, God, no. It's atrocious. All her intro dialogues are terrible. She also flip flops between like liking and respecting Goro and Kintaro. Like sometimes he's like, "Oh, Kintaro's my friend." Other times, "Hey, Kintaro was weak." Like, what the fuck? Oh my god. So bad, so inconsistent, completely undoes all the work the MKX comics, for all its flaws. It put in so much for this character, and they've immediately just ruined it. It's insane. Um, and yeah, so
mm,
hey, I'm back. I was sorry if there was a cut there. Discord kicked me out the call again.
yep,
Yay! So yeah, I feel we have covered Shiva though. Now, just very poor. In 11, basically a nothing character for the most part. Just a kind of meh concept. Before X comics, and like I love X comics Shiva, but the thing is, her role, finally giving her some proper relevancy in comparison to the other Shokan, because like obviously the only other thing she has is a bodyguard and a
it
jailer and
the way that it develops requires so much writing out of other show characters.
yeah, it requires you having to like get rid of the entire Goro's entire family
Right.
to get to be queen. So like as much as I like her as queen, at least in the X comics, I can't do that in a thick like reborn, because it comes from a bad decision in having like in fucking over Goro's entire family.
Mhm.
Um and I just rather keep King Gorbak and Queen Mai and just give them
Right.
some more development and keep Prince Goro as a part of the
Yeah.
Shogun. Um, so yeah, um,
Yeah. I still really like her conceptually. I enjoy writing her a lot. I enjoy, like all of what you've done with her in Reborn.
thank you. I struggle writing her a lot. Again, maybe because her other roles make her feel so much less important, like the other Shogun, and it's so hard to give her stuff.
It doesn't feel like you struggle with writing her from my perspective as a reader.
Well, I went with the. Well, I don't even know if I knew I knew she was supposed to be a Jane. I'm getting on. I just went off of it for like her being like the essentially the main guard of the Cobalt Mines of the Shokan. And I like it. She was nice in the prisons there. Don't have to
Yeah,
make big.
you did a lot of good
Um,
characterization with her, and I really like the dynamic you gave her with Zenkaro.
Thank you. Yeah,
You're
so
welcome.
yeah, I basically do my own server because like
Mhm.
bodyguarding Sindel, there's like, and honestly, there's not much there. I like the idea of Sindel pure on a connection, but I think in terms of like a role
Right.
for her, it's kind of nothing.
Yeah.
It's just like a
I
lackey.
know.
So
I know. Yeah, I know shipping Shiva and Sindel as a romantic relationship, which I think is cool.
yeah,
Um,
I like that.
I think it's a good pairing. I know it's one of my girlfriend's favorite ships, which is nice.
Oh.
So that's a lot of fun. So yeah, I think we should put her in D tier. I moved her in mine to just below Beats, but above Cabal,
Um,
because I think for all her problems, she still kind of outshines a lot of the ones that are below her.
yes, I think the
She's
comic
less
has
consistent
like an actual good
Cabal.
portrayal, so that helps. Um,
Right. She's less inconsistent than Cabal. She's less wasted than Motaro, I think, mostly because of the comics. And she's less consistently obnoxious than Johnny.
yeah, yeah. So I agree with above Cabal, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think conceptually she outshines me and Onira or even Goro. Though I do like pure bias, I probably prefer her over Goro, but
Yeah,
he's got more to Um, yeah. So, do you want to go on to Rain right now?
Oh my god, we've gone an hour and nearly 50 minutes now. I've only done three characters. Oh
Holy
my
shit.
god. Um, yeah, we can
Uh,
do Rain. Much to my dismay, fucking Rain.
if you want to do like one more, I guess we can cover Striker. I feel like Reiko and Reptile are going to take a little longer.
Yeah, Striker. Striker. We'll go with him then.
Oh, I do Striker now.
Yeah,
Okay. Moving ahead to Striker, we'll get to Rain and Reiko and Reptile probably in the next part.
yeah.
Um, Striker, it was it first introduced in Mortal Kombat 3. He is a police officer. That's it. That's the concept. He's a cop, which is
Leader
fine.
of
It's
the
simple.
NYPD Riot Control Division. So
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate that
Yeah,
specific context.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Boy, it's a good thing that he died in MK9. Otherwise, the questions are, do they call him in to uh, do they call him in to attack Black Lives Matter rioters like real police do?
oh,
Not rioters, protesters. Fuck. Oh my god. I
God.
feel like such a.
Is that
Oh my
right?
god. That was awful. I'm so sorry. Oh Jesus Christ. I meant to say I guess riot control. Fuck. Fuck. I'm really mad at myself for that. I'm really mad at myself for that. Jesus Christ. I apologize to anyone who watches this. Black Lives Matter protesters are not rioters. Oh my god. Anyway, so yeah, that's the problematic thing about Stryker, that he is a cop. By the way,
Yeah, that is a problem. Um, and I don't even think it has the appeal of like basic like hey, he's just a regular guy because no, he leads a riot control division. He knows
right?
what he's doing.
He's not as everyman as
Yeah,
I,
that's the
I
word,
do.
everyman, which people keep calling him when he's not.
I do think he's close to that. I do think there's a
Yeah,
lot.
but also the main point they make is like, hey, he's like unfamiliar with all this like other stuff, like animal stuff.
Right,
But so is like over half the Earthbound characters at that time anyway. And like obviously by MK3, they're all most of them all aware.
right,
Um,
but like I don't know. I still think it's a cool concept to have someone like him who's like trained, but relatively that discovers all of this not through the tournament, but through the invasion.
yeah, I was fair, and I like that.
Like
I
his
just think
whole
it
world is
I
changed
think
when
it
that
gets
shit
too
goes
much
down.
credit. And
No,
he's definitely a
yeah.
character that screams popular just because he was in MK9.
Right. Yeah, everyone used to hate on him and think he was boring because of his and they flipped around on him the second he was an MK9. Stupid.
Yeah, and
MK9
MK9
does
doesn't actually do
actually
anything for him, despite what people keep saying. They just
no.
had him talk,
It
and his personality is really basic, and he has a terrible line, which I'm
yes.
not repeating. So
Oh, yeah. We're not repeating that line. Long story short, police brutality is not a joke, and it's definitely not something you should be making a pun about.
yeah,
Anyway, so I think MK9 does help him somewhat. His personality is not different. He just has screen time and dialogue now. They
exactly.
do give him the connection. They do give him the connection with Cabal, which in some ways I think can be is a stronger tether for Cabal's character than it is for Strikers.
Yeah,
They give
that's what
Striker a
I
way
think.
to help Cabal out,
Yeah, because obviously it gives strikers and stuff.
and
Obviously having like like a partner
right,
character, but it helps
like a
Cabal a lot more,
former
so that
right,
Cabal can
right,
rise above generic criminal.
right, because Striker is trying to help rehabilitate him and stick out for him. Cares a lot. It's really good.
Yeah,
Close connection. They definitely work uh, as a romantic couple if you want to take that route with the both of them.
yeah,
Definitely favor of that. Which I will do in some of my fanfics, but I'm not doing in Mortal Kombat Requiem because of a really random chip that just kind of happened. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, in MK3, he's there during the invasion. He becomes one of the chosen warriors and helps fight Shutdowns. Cool. That's fine. He's just he has like a little cameo in Deception Conquest where he wants to join the Satan Guard for some reason, which is both weird and concerning.
oh
In
no.
Armageddon, they try way too hard to like reinvent him and make him cool. Like he's joined the special forces and he like wears this like dumb like Matrix Tronny looking outfit and he's got shades and shit, and
I
in his
keep my
ending, he becomes like a
saving him for
vigilante.
Johnny.
It's his it's the most like hello fellow kids that Stryker has ever been.
I do like his
And
old
then
costume though. He looks very drippy in his Armageddon ult. Um,
yeah. Oh yeah, his ult is cool. Yeah. And then in MK9, he's fine. He gets like some fights and stuff. But it's not really like again, like you said, it doesn't really help him as much as people think it does. Especially because he gets killed. He gets killed. They finally
yeah,
give him some assist, and then he gets killed. Same problem with the MK9 versions of characters like Smoke or Cabal himself. So that's fucking lame. He becomes a revenant. He becomes a revenant that gets no dialogue, which is
yeah,
only noteworthy because I use it to inspire my Requiem version of him, where basically he is intentionally not speaking because he knows that what he's doing is wrong. He doesn't like it, but he can't really like resist. Like he can't break out of it. Yeah, he does eventually break free in my story, but he's just sort of it's like a passive resistance thing for him.
yeah, which is cool and requires actual brain thoughts.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's something NRS doesn't have. So unfortunately, you don't
Yeah.
get that. He's him and Smoke aren't even in MK11, which is odd.
Nope. Oh,
You know,
he
you'd
shows
think
up
they
in
just
Metal Realms
complete.
to get killed.
Oh yeah, yeah, he dies there.
He
He
dies
shouldn't
in that
even
fucking
be in
movie.
MK2 because the whole appeal is
Nope.
that he learns of the stuff during the invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
but
he
yeah,
is meant.
they needed
He and
someone to
he and
die, I guess.
yes. He and Cabal are mentioned in Annihilation, though we never see them on screen, as having been captured by Rain and his forces during that version of the invasion. And it stated that Rain spared them, so presumably they're still alive in the universe, although then Shao Kahn kills Rain. So
See you.
like Rain starts to say, like, oh, if I let them live, and then Shao Kahn grabs them from fucking fire pit. So that's poor Rain, but at least he did one nice thing. And that's kind of it, unfortunately, for Striker's
Yeah.
canonical appearances. That like covers him, and we've covered the base concept of him too. So I think he's good. I think he's interesting, but like he really has not gotten a lot. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do think he's solid. You know, I think we could put him in like lower B tier or at the very top of C tier.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I think he
Where
did.
would you want to stick him?
Oh, I've just moved. Chameleon. It's by accident.
Oh.
Okay, it's fine. Striker, let me just look at BT. I've got like scrolling up very slowly. Come on, phone. And the list is so big. Okay, I'm at
Well,
female.
we got a lot of
Um,
interesting characters coming up. Just
oh,
looking ahead. Anyway.
I don't actually know. Um, I,
Mhm.
I have no clue I'd put him in B actually. Um,
Okay. And okay. Um, maybe like I don't know, like maybe just below mocap but above Kintaro.
yeah, I was thinking that, but I like Kintaro more. I like Moloch more.
Okay, that's
I probably like
true.
Torque
Yeah.
more.
Okay, above Argus.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm
Um,
good with that. I'm good with that.
so I reached 2 hours on
Oh,
recording. We're almost there. Well, since Open Toro, I guess we can do Rojak and Ruby, like with last episode, we do something
sure,
different.
that could be fun.
So that at least we can say we've done a lot.
Yeah, we can say we've done
Like a good
more.
amount. We can
Right.
well have six.
Yes. So,
Um,
Rojak is the main villain of the Mortal Kombat Special Forces mini series by Malibu Comics, not to be confused with the spin-off game. He is the leader of the Black Dragon forces that Jax and his team have to deal with in that comic, and he's essentially Jax's like main rival in that.
yeah.
So yeah, so I like him because he's cooler than Kano. He's more fun than Kano, and he just doesn't fucking aggravate me. And he's not the worst human in existence. There are like some bits where he's like a sexist, but like it's not as entrenched in his character as Kano, so you can write it out of him.
Yeah, especially
So
since
I think
obviously
he's
he's
great, and I like him.
an obscure character, so you can sing a lot.
There is the problematic fact of him being a black person who was depicted as a criminal. But I think the existence of characters like Jax and Jackie, James,
Yeah.
kind of balance that out. similar to what I don't mind it with Darius either. Darius isn't just a criminal; he's just more than what Rojak is. Um,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
yeah, I think Rojak is cool. He's probably my favorite like Black Dragon leader candidate, like competing with Banach because I think there's more interesting things to do with Cabal and I hate Kano.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he's quite solid. I would put him. I think maybe just above Ramos, but below Quali. Because
Where am
I
I
definitely think
looking?
he has potential and could be what?
Oh, I found it. Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Because I think he has a lot of potential and can have a fun personality, and he's got more there than a lot of the D tiers below him, but he still is mostly kind of conceptual and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's it for him. That's it for him.
Kano put better.
And then
Um,
yes,
we
and
got
then we have
Ruby.
Ruby from Defenders of the Realm.
Could someone like
Yeah.
show her what pants are, please? Yeah,
Yes,
the rough
or
design, but 'cause
yeah. So
it's
we
a
have
classic male ninja, but they just rip the pants off of sexualization. Like,
yep.
okay,
Yes. Yeah. So we have Ruby here. If you follow Stephanie Brownback's Twitter account, we're back after 2 months of HRT.
base.
Yeah, no, Ruby's fun. She is a character who appears in Defenders of the Realm. She's an assassin that seemingly serves Shao Kahn. She's from a realm called Hin Pa. Bit of an odd name.
Yeah,
But it's fun. It's like a weird eternal night realm. She was like friends with Katana previously. And she's not like actually loyal to Shao Kahn. She like has her own agenda. I think she's like opposed to him because of him conquering her realm probably, but she's like sort of working within his system and stuff. And she knew, I guess she fought in like a previous Mortal Kombat tournament, I think, because she knew Jax's grandfather somehow in the past
oh yeah,
and like helped take care of him after some kind of injury or something like that. So that's interesting. She has a connection with Jackson. There's sort of like an implied attention there, which is fine. Though obviously, I prefer his relationship with his wife Vera. Um,
yeah,
and she kind of like vanishes after her episode. She isn't killed, but she does kind of disappear. She does get killed off in Federation of Martial Arts to motivate Jax, but it's Federation of Martial Arts, and like other than haha Jimmy Cage, who cares? And of course the iconic line, "And where the hell is Rain?" Anyway, uh,
That's the
yeah.
fact
So
that
that's
she's a rap of like Im Imperians, however you pronounce that. But obviously the brown
yeah,
people,
Oregon.
which I don't know much
Right.
about, but like you can definitely obviously like establish it
You
and
can
it's like
expand upon yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I make her a very prominent character in my fanfic and Requiem. I establish her as initially a right hand woman and loyalist to Total, because she wants to reform after everything that Shao Kahn did and everything, and she doesn't believe that freeing the realms is a viable option. So that's and obviously she doesn't want to support Shao Kahn's heir, so that's why she's on the Lena side. But throughout the story, she starts to see how cruel and awful Kotal is, and starts to realize that he needs to be stopped. But she also feels kind of trapped within the structure of his empire, and like she doesn't know how to like oppose him without getting herself killed or getting her people facing his wrath. So that really enjoyed writing her. I've had a lot of fun with that. She is a really interesting sort of mysterious like anti-hero type. Seems somewhat untrustworthy, but also is actually opposed to Shaka. She sort of feels like an earlier prototype of like Nitara as a concept.
yeah.
So I think she's really interesting, and I quite like her. So for all of that, I think I would put her. She's definitely D tier. I think I would put her as high as just above Vera, but below Devora.
Okay, yeah,
Uh, yeah, if you're good with that.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. Hey, look. Do you want to do Tor?
uh, yeah. I was gonna
He's right
say
there.
I was gonna say I really like your version of Ruby. Um,
Thank you.
I haven't used her yet, and I wasn't really planning on it until like recently. But I got like the idea that Empire is actually the names around like the Aztec realm, and basically the Invariants, like Ruby, are obviously the human or race, and to like follow with like a pattern of like other realms, like Adenia and Outworld and whatnot.
Mhm.
So I thought that
Yeah.
was cool, and that saves me from having to
Mhm.
establish another round to restore, and I can just put them together since the Aztec
Right.
realm is so vague.
Yeah.
And I guess I was partially inspired
Mhm.
because like how connected Ruby is to Kotal in the Orphic, and that
Mhm.
probably is what got me thinking about that.
That probably gave you the
Yeah.
idea.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have thought about
Thank
like
you.
putting associating the two. So yeah, I would be
Yeah,
doing
that's kind
establishing
of
a
really
thing with
flattering.
that.
Thank you.
No, yeah, we can do Tor, sure. Oh, that rhymed.
Sure, right?
Wow.
He's right there. He's right there.
um,
Might as well.
Farah's pet.
Tor is Yeah, Tor is the mount that Farah rides on because of the symbiote concept. He is big and strong, and that's it. That's his entire character.
Yeah. I think you can do.
He's protective of Farah. That's something.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think you can do some like very adorable stuff. Oddly enough, with like this seeming like a monster type character with him
Yeah,
protecting like little Farah. There's like one animation where in like their gameplay, because Farah and Tor do actually have like some pretty cool gameplay. Like obviously
yeah, yeah.
very unique. So I can appreciate that,
Mhm.
and they have like some cool animations. One is like Tor like holding Farah's hand and just like walking with her. That is adorable. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I think you could expand on like that connection. Obviously, talk can't talk.
Mhm.
My idea is like like some flesh pits like mutation like experiment, and
Yeah,
that they're like siblings, and Tor becomes that thing, um, like a failed experiment, that
yeah. Where
with
like
some
whereas
trying to
my
like create
version.
these
Sorry.
big beasts that are obedient
Right.
and work well with each other, that he could potentially
Yeah,
weaponize against Shao Kahn because he's constantly making plans against Shao Kahn. So
yeah.
yeah, you have to
Whereas
know we can contrive
my
stuff to get
version.
any
Sorry.
depth from this guy. But go on.
Yeah, yeah. You have to like pry at it. Yeah. My version of him is like just a construct. He's not like mutated from anything. That's all I was trying to say. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Kept putting in there. It wasn't even that interesting. But yeah, Tor is fine. Uh, yeah, I put him on mine. I moved him up to the very top of E tier.
Yeah, I agree with that because I do actually
I don't.
quite like him, but yeah, it's just
Mhm.
tall.
It's just Tor. He can't go any further. Yeah. Oh
It-
boy, in the next part we might get to Poster Boy. Oh, people are gonna be so mad at us.
oh
Yep.
my god.
Also, the one being is a single Gemini over from Poster Boy. But anyway,
He's
like
sucking the
we once again
tractor
have
off.
a sucking Sextor. Yes.
That's an
No.
interesting
Oh God,
question.
one big X Sector.
I
One
know
big X Sector. No.
what a perfect way to end this video. Um,
Yup. Yup.
yeah, we actually did a decent amount. Obviously for like
Yeah.
2 hours 7 minutes, from. Um, yeah, it took
Yeah.
us a while
That
to
was
get
good.
through Quan Chi and Kung Lao. Shiva as well, just because
Mhm.
there's a lot of stuff to rant about with her. And we always get carried away with our rants, which is very
We
poggers.
do, we do,
Yeah, I
we
got my
do. Wait till you
poggers.
see when we talk about Rain and Reptile and
Yeah.
Scorpion and kind of Reiko, half of Reiko, I guess.
So yeah, let's look at the DS here. Obviously not much has changed because we only done like added like 7 characters here. But I'll just scroll through.
Yeah.
Anyone who doesn't know, here we are. The D tier is fucking huge. Um,
Yeah, as it
and
like honestly should be. Like
yeah.
Jesus.
So there we are. Thank you for watching this video, everyone. I'll see you for
Mm-hmm.
the next part. Bye.
Yeah. See ya.